Yo, what's up, guys? Perfect. New tier list and first time ever tier list with someone else on the screen. And we got the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only Obabo. Was sitting in top 4 position. I definitely think he will reclaim the top 4 position. I need this man in a legend tournament victory again. Like, he's just gonna go for one and done. And then he joins again and he wins again. That's the kind of legend he is. So yeah, we have the one hopefully. And only Obabo over here. Tier list once again. We're going to be ranking every unit that is meta viable. So that means at least 1% pick rate in G3 RTA. Otherwise, we can say we don't include it. Otherwise, we're going to add all of those weird Teors and that kind of stuff. And the list would be way too long. Also, we're ranking everything by 195 and those kind of things. It gives us a chance to kind of put any unit in between. But it's the same thing as like triple S, double S. It just gives a little bit more flexibility. Also, once again, this is our opinion and also from the chat. Feel free to disagree because there's always like, it's always a fair amount of bias. And I think we got a very interesting one with Obabo and me right here because we definitely have very different opinions about certain units. And I think that makes it very cool. I think we would have to agree on that if you say 100, I say 90, we put it at 95, okay?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, because otherwise I think we would be going back and forth a little bit too much. That would be definitely a thing. For the units in order, I'll put all of the timestamps by family names once again, but we're gonna go from the last, or like the earliest released units towards the newest released units in that order. So if you kind of want to figure out where what is, we'll figure that out. I'm definitely a man of statistics, so I'll still be using the statistics every time to just check up where units are. It's not going to be a full statistic tier list. If we feel that something is very different than that, we'll just place it differently. All cool for you to go, Obabo?
Yeah, I'm good to go.
Okay, good stuff, good stuff. Let me make you a little louder for myself. Can you full screen this thing? I think I can't really full screen it more than I do on the screen right now. So yeah, first of all, I think Ikasha, would Ikasha be used at the moment? I don't...
I'm pretty sure it's below the pick rate. I don't think I've seen it in
so
like
as well.
A month or so.
Wait, Talisha, definitely not. Ikasha, it's always hard to find units in this thing.
Yeah, and it's like always hard to judge those because they're picked so little and they're still like probably the best units you can pick in some situations.
Exactly, it's like 0.06. Yeah. We're gonna ignore that one. So we start off like most times that they start off the tier list with, actually used to be your favorite unit, I would say, Han. What would you say about Han in current season?
In one way, he's actually decent because he's kind of good into some of the Josephine Fire Monkey stuff that gets picked a lot. But I also feel like the teams that you want to pick with Han still gets punished by those units so hard that it's still like it's very hard to pick him, but he's still not bad. I would still rate him fairly high, but maybe not as high as he used to be.
Yeah, I would agree on that. Like before, he also had a lot of value for like Woundsack comps and those kind of things, which he definitely made shining in. Right now, he's more of a bruiser where you would say a lot of other bruisers would kind of do similar or still good. We're looking at a 7% pick rate, 51 win rate. It's definitely not bad numbers. But what would you say for number you would give it? Like 85, 90-ish?
Yeah, I think 85 is pretty good to place him for now. I guess it's easier to say once we put more units as well.
Yeah, you're 100% right on that. The first few units are always somewhat difficult, and then more you place because it's comparing unit A to unit B, whether now you're comparing a unit to absolutely nothing. So yeah, let's just continue, and then we see what we get. So let's move on to the Valkyries, a good old Camilla. I'm still a big fan of Camilla from time to time on a full damage build, but I think her win rate was actually not that bad. 50% on a 1.39 pick rate, but I would say more of a niche-ish unit. I'm just going to place it somewhere. Feel free to completely disagree with that because it's just like a placement of where it's going to be. What would you say on Cammy this season?
I would probably put her in 70 or 75. It's not that she's like bad, but it's also that for the runes you put on her for her to actually perform, you don't get to pick her that much.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Wait, I'm hella messing up this thing right now. I just noticed I don't have a 75 tier. And now we do. I would personally probably say 70, mainly because of like, sure, if she fits pretty well, but exactly as you said, it is super niche that she fits. But it's still often, for me, one of those things when people feels like, ooh, I should be picking a Chow. I feel like Camilla often does better because of the little bit of healing, the slows and the slows and the freezes. The only thing is, like, if the enemy never crits, you don't actually get your cleanses in. But still pretty solid unit. So, would you say 70 or 75?
I would probably say 70. I mean, I think her and Chao usually goes in the same tier.
Yeah, I would say so as well. So let's aim for 70. Then the unit that you're currently first picking the most, which is also first on the list over here, is actually for pick rate, one of the higher pick rate units, and the win rate is 51.67. Vanessa we're talking about, and 23% pick rate. That is absolutely insane for the win rate compared to pick rate, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think there's lots of speed leads right now that are really strong. So
Yeah,
it's hard because speed leads are also hard to judge compared to other units.
It is true because they're always locked in the first thing, because I think throughout most metas, first things you pick are speed leads. But I think she enables a lot of things where a lot of the other people are on the other speed leads, such as the Oliver and the what's it called? The Twin Angels. And since they're focusing that much on these two, if you're a main Vanessa, you probably can always pick the Vanessa when it fits you. And I think that's definitely having her some value as well.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably place her in either 90 or 95 even.
95 even. I think I would kind of agree. Well, I would say 95 is also kind of depending on what box you're using with. So, for example, for you, your Sonya, best Sonya I've ever seen still. It's freaking insane. Works really well with the Vanessa. Zeratul works really well with the Vanessa. All of those single target hard snipes, if you're focusing on those, really work with the Vanessa. But if you're more focused on somewhat of a CC kind of comp, I think Vanessa kind of falls off.
Yeah, CC comps, it's for sure like often a dead pick. Unless the enemy goes like full snipe. It's just that I feel like she works really well with turn 2 counter picks that are like stronger this season compared to the others.
Yeah.
But I think 90 is fine for now. We can see.
Yeah, I would say 90 for now, but she is definitely potential. If we make an in-between tier, she fits the in-between tier there right away. Then moving on next. Well, let's do Trinity. I just want to see if she's actually picked, because I've seen a few people cleave this season. I'll take it. 0.99 pick rate on a 75 win rate. I guess that some cleaves are kind of enabled by the fact that a lot of units are a little bit slower this season. What would you say about that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I can say about that, but I mean, she is a 33 lead, so she can't be that bad just because of the 33 lead.
I
still don't think she's great though.
I'm legit. I'm just gonna place her at like 55 because I'm pretty sure if you would check what she's paired with, it's like a whole specific full-on LD comp that makes her good. Yeah, it's like definitely things like Valeska and all of those like super snipey comps, and pretty much everything is LD based. So you're gonna need a whole bunch of LDs to actually make her work. So I would say for me personally, if you just have her, it's 55. If you go for the whole comp, it's maybe a 60. What would you say about that?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's higher than 60 if you have the full comp.
Yeah, but yeah, full
comp
comp
is
probably
it's a pretty
higher.
fair.
But overall usage, 60 by best. No, actually 55 to be honest. I think you need legit like 3-4 LDs to make it work. Fuck that shit. Let's move on to Achrome. I think Achrome is kind of making a comeback a little bit. Like last season, she felt really bad. The season before that, she felt incredibly good. 2% pick rate, 47 on the win rate. Okay, still not that crazy. I would say, to be honest, if you pick her good, I will give it a 70. But it's just...
Yeah, I think 70.
It's just one of those things that I think it's from dragging over from last season. Like, oh, last season I used it a lot. It was super good. Let's continue using it. And then it's kind of bad. But I think in the right comp, she's still pretty good. But she does need pretty insane rune quality to actually shine, I would say.
Yeah, it's like similar to Chimera, right? And I think it's still good into some of the Oliver comps. It's just that those comps are less common, and then you insane rune sitting on a unit that's not really better than Fire Monkey or stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like Fire Monkey is definitely more value right there. Let's see for a Eshir. I don't see myself too many Eshers nowadays. 3% pick rate, 47 on the win rate. Not super high, but I would say if you build your full comp around it, it might be still okay-ish, but I think there's better options to put your speed runes on these days, right?
Yeah. I mean, I was playing some with the Violent Eshir with the twins at the end of last season.
Yeah,
that felt kind of good because he's kind of like a little bit like Zeratul in that regard, where he doesn't really feel bad into anything because he always does the like 16k nuke.
Yeah,
no matter what.
Will we give him a 75?
I think 70 Or even 65 right now would also work.
Yeah, I would say so. Like, mainly because you're not really going to put the speed set on it. Sure, Vio could do, but yeah, I would say 65 is kind of fine. Also, win rate is not really representing anything too special at the moment. Let's see about dragons. I don't think any of the dragons are really used at the moment. I haven't seen Chimera in ages.
Yeah, same.
Yes, it's 1% pick rate with a 40 win rate. Technically, we have to place that in, but straight to 50 you go over there, sir. It's one of those things, like, it was somewhat used to counter Veronica's, but even Veronica you don't see all too much anymore.
It's harder because I feel like, sure, he has 40% win rate, but he still has insane value some games. It's like hard to judge him based on that.
Yeah, that's true. But then again, it's also one of those units would you really keep it ruined. Like, you already have to have so many units ruined, so I'm giving him 55 for some credit. Well, Dustin is inting the Zerath at the moment, so I guess that's not really working anymore as well. So we go on to some vampires. Good old Verd. Would you say that you still use a decent amount of Verd, and what kind of build would you use him on at the moment?
I definitely use quite a bit of Verd right now, because there's so many Velasquez, right? And I think Verd is one of the more consistent ways to play against it.
Okay.
So I've been doing the double revenge will Verd a lot. But I've even been considering like making a Violent Revenge or a Violent Will one.
Okay.
Into those some of the Viva players.
Yeah, it's definitely an option as well, yeah. Verd. 52 win rate on a 6% pick rate. That's actually pretty darn insane. Wow. Maybe I should be picking up more Verd myself. By the statistics, he would even be like 85, 80-ish. Will we give him that?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think 85 is kind of fair right now for him.
Okay,
I think it's really good
what
right now.
build would you mainly say, or just like any build?
I would say Double Revenge Will is probably the build that's best for most situations.
Okay, fair. I was more leaning towards 80, but looking at the statistics and hearing your saying, I'll agree on the 85 on the Verd, yeah. Wait, let me see. Someone is saying, there's a small leak of your chat between Obabo and Nurse Cam. What if, yeah. Let me just, I cannot really see the screen fully, so I can't see. Let me say if that's fixed right now. Why will on Verts? Yeah, I would say before it was mainly against the Sibalas, but it's still good against a whole bunch of stuff. Joe Gunn, also definitely there.
I think the will just has a lot of value in general, because if your Vert takes one turn, you're basically taking double the turns of the enemy already. Like, you're taking 2 turns on your whole team before the enemy. So having will just allows you to have like more safety for the Vert, and you also have like the chance to resist random stuff. And if they're also low on strips, it puts more pressure in the draft.
Yeah, we're definitely so yeah. Yeah, it gives you less chance for the revenge, but if you're really betting on the revenge to win the match, you kind of have a bad draft anyways, I would say.
Yeah, unless there's like a full
Yeah,
wind.
if there are like 4 AoE units, it's bound to happen at some point. Definitely true on that. What would we say current state of the game, Julian? Definitely took a bit of nerf by other units being able to kill him a lot easier, but I would say in a 5th pick, still very strong.
I still like him. I think he should make a little bit of a comeback right now, in a way. I wouldn't rate him super high, but I think around 80.
Yeah, I was going to say 80. Well, I would say maybe 80 because of his pick rate not being that interesting. So win rate 51, pick rate 4.43. I think 80 is fine because he's actually not that easy to ruin. He has really low base stats on the speed. He starts off with 15 crit rate because he awakens into his S2. So you actually need to add like a lot of stats into him. And I would not draft him any earlier than slot 4, slot 5, because otherwise Fire Twins, Zenitsus, all of those kind of things decide to kill him pretty badly, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But I think there's some like drafts where you can fit really well with both Vanessa and Fire Megumi. Like Fire Megumi putting around random defense breaks.
Yeah, that's the thing. If he only needs a defense break and then it's already death, like it's really insane. I want to see if Cadiz is picked up these days, but I highly doubt it. Nope, not really. So then we're moving on to some Chimeras, starting off with Rakan. I would say we see Hanselot play a lot of Rakan, but is that meme Rakan because of the Yeon-Han, or is it actually good?
I mean, I'm actually a little bit of a Rakan enjoy as well, but I wouldn't put it that high. But I think it's like around 70 probably, or 75
I
maybe.
would more give it like a 60-ish. I would say the general Rakan. I really like a Leo trap like Rakan, where it's just 0 speed. You can make it max resistance, and you just add a lot of stats to it. But I think he's, unless you have like a full draft really based on him, I don't like him that much personally. So I think a 65 in betweener for that one probably feels okay.
Because I think I like him more than Eshir right now. I would say he's pretty comparable to Chroma, but I guess we can see later.
Yeah,
He's not really picked that much.
No, actually, I agree with you on 70 because the 70 is kind of developing the tier. If you put good runes to it in the right draft, it's good. And then he fits with the other two. Yeah, I agree. Let's go for the 70 in that one. I'm pretty sure no one really uses Teor nowadays. But I do want to have a quick peek. Actually, Verrat, is that used nowadays?
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think I've seen Teor in ages as well. Nope. Jean, however, also not really his fitting meta. Nope. Well, then we go on to the one that actually does have the perfect fitting meta. 0-2. Did actually take a little bit of a hit in win rate as well. It went down by like 2%. It's sitting at 52.5 on 13% pick rate right now. Still definitely one of the higher win rates out there if we check it all together. It's sitting probably, let's just select it on this. No, it's not selecting all of them. Yeah, it's still top 10-ish win rate. I would just say 0-2 for current season compared to last season.
I think it's about the same still.
Okay.
I just think it's hard because like a G3 data is always skewed a little bit, but I would still say like 95 is probably where it should end up. I guess it depends a little bit on where we place the rest of the LDs.
Yeah, exactly. I think 95 is fine. I think there's some stronger options than him out there at the moment, yeah. But he's still, he was actually my SP up summon. He was one of the ones that I wanted the most.
I mean, I think Zeratul is chill because he's kind of like when I was playing Bella a lot back then. It's like he never feels useless in a draft.
Yeah, you can pretty much always slap him in, and unless you get like super AoE CC cleaved, he's totally gonna do fine. So let's see, these birds are definitely not used. Artemil, also an interesting unit right now. 42.5 win rate on 0.5 pick rate. Definitely not an Artemil meta. That's I guess too many multi-hitters on like low crit rate units and therefore a lot of add damage and it just dies, I guess.
Yeah, I mean Wind Twin and Shiho and stuff like that make it really
absolutely.
hard for him.
Velajul took a bit of a hit, but still close to 50 win rate on 7% pick rate. I would say 75-ish, but you still have to have like a proper build on him to actually use him, I would say.
Yeah, I think 75 is okay for him. Should be good.
Because right now, I think a lot of people are taking the runes away from it because there's just so many things to rune. But it's still a good unit if you have the runes on it. Fermion. It's one of those units, the moment he provokes every turn, he seems super OP. And if he misses provokes, it's just bad. If I can find him, of course. I'm always... Yeah, somewhere. What would you say about Fermion? Or is it more of those guys that are just like really having the full calm to spam it and that kind of stuff?
I mean, I don't think he's terrible, but he's also usually not optimal.
Yeah, exactly. 47.
He's actually pretty high on the pick rate though, which is surprising.
I'm surprised about 1.64 on the pick rate as well. That's definitely something. 47 on the win. That's definitely worth placing, but then again, I think it's really those bruiser people that really put the whole comp around it, and then it's still not crazy. Also, I would say he has issues with Irene and stuff, because the moment you see any kind of things that revolve around this draft, people just smack in Irene, and these kind of things really don't like to play against Irene, because mainly Gapso, Nyx, exactly what Amodance is saying, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing with Fermion and like other provokers is that if you bag the Fermion, you lose all the provokes as well.
Yeah, like exactly. I'm pretty sure Anavel's currently not played. Oh, it's actually 0.75.
Yeah, she's played quite a bit now, just because Lest was first picking it.
Lest makes the most weird units work, man. The man is gonna pull a freaking Zyros in SWC this year, I'm telling you, man. Would you like to rate the NFL, or do you think like it's just too weird?
I mean, I don't think she's that weird to rate, but I would probably put her in 65 maybe.
Yeah, I would say so as well.
Oh.
Like one of those, if you really put your best stuff to it, because that's the thing, if Les uses anything, it is like a 200 Vio will NFL with 100 resistance and 6 million stats. So yeah, then anything can kind of work. Let's see what we have for Rika. Also not picked that much at the moment. There's just less potential where you have a team with no immunity, no cleansers, no nothing, and then also no power on the enemy side.
Yeah.
But I would say I'll give her still a 64 value. Like, you should still have one rune for that 1 in 100 match where she's perfect. Do you agree?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would probably even put her 65. I think her and Annabelle
Fair.
are pretty comparable, but
Fair.
it's pretty rare. But I've still picked her here and there.
Fair. Let's see about Charlotte's. Nope. 42 win rate, 0.33 pick. Definitely not a thing. Now we go on to the real OGs. Let's start off with Nikki. That one is not that crazy at the moment as well. I had that one season where she was incredibly good as a damage dealer next to like Maximilian and stuff. She got nerfed after, but also completely lost her spot in the meta after, and then it just went downhill. 41% win rate, 1% pick rate. Still think she's decent though. Like, I wouldn't say she's worse than the others, but it's kind of a rough spot for her.
Yeah.
Let's
I
see.
do kind of like Annabelle more than Nikki though, which might sound weird to say.
To be honest, every time that I need some runes from anything, my Nikki is the first one to lose runes. It's just so bad runes right now. It's legit like 150 speed and like whatever stat. It's not even 100 res anymore. So yeah, I do agree. I wouldn't even place this in the box for most people at the moment. Let's see about the real OG. Laura, 13% pick rate, 51 on the win. Definitely not her meta as much as previous seasons was, but still really good. Would you say 95 or higher or lower?
I would probably say 90. I don't think she's as good as Seratu, I would say.
Yeah, I would actually agree. I think she's really good if you have the whole comp for like the Light Gojo and you have the Tian Lang and those kind of things. Also no longer the holy trinity of LDs because it's just not fitting the meta that much anymore for it. But yeah, I would say that she definitely fits a 90 at the moment. Yeah, I would agree. Then we go to some oracles. Starting off with Pra. Do we see some Pra at the moment? 1% pick rate, 52 win rate. Isn't that just like Guts doing weird stuff or something?
I was also playing her for a little bit.
Okay.
I was doing some weird Sonya trap Sonya, and it was actually, or Pra, I mean, and it was working pretty well. But I think she's in like a similar spot to the Annabelle, I would say.
Yeah, exactly.
General.
Someone's mentioning Jara. Is Jara actually picked? No, 0.5% pick rate. So sorry, not gonna be happening. But yeah, Pra, 65. I think that's fine for her. I think if you really put Rune Search, I think she shines probably more on the 70, but it's one of those units you really have to invest good runes to, and probably it's not really worth to do so.
Yeah, for sure.
Juno. I feel like Juno's actually making a little bit of a comeback. She's definitely not longer the best non-LD5 in game. But still, 50.71, 13.5 pick rate. It's not bad. But maybe more an 85-ish, right?
I actually think she's 90. I think she's still one of the best. And she's super good into both Fire Megumi and Wind Twins.
Yeah, that's
I've actually been liking her a lot. And usually I'm not that much of a Juno picker. And now I've actually been using her quite a bit.
Yeah, that actually makes sense. That makes sense. The only thing is, like, at the meta where there was, like, a lot of Nefties and those kind of things, you really had, like, an insane spot. But right now, yeah, she's still one of those interesting units to always have ruined up on a proper set. So I would say, sure, Juno on the 90. Sierra actually took a big jump the moment people started going for Sierra plus Joe Gunn. Right now, I would say people kind of figured it out. It's one of the worst units for the highest pick rates out there. But still, Sierra is pretty interesting. 85-ish?
Yeah.
Or 80?
Yeah, I would say... I would probably place her 85.
Yeah.
For now, and then see how it evolves.
Yeah, I think 85 is probably fine. I think she kind of has the issue, like, she has the bomb missing issue, and then she completely loses value. If she would always land her bomb, she would increase in win rate like 3, 4, 5% right away. But yeah, she has that 15% chance that's just straight up like really detrimental.
Sierra for me, like I don't have the crazy set on it, but it's still one of my favorite second speed leads for me to pick, like later in the draft.
Well, it's high on that pressure on damage, and that's definitely a nice value to a speed lead as well. Okay, Lima, we're not talking about anymore. 40%, 44% win rate on the 0-40 pick. That's not a thing. Gianna, however, well, I can just find Gianna by doing this. It's the third most picked unit in the game. Did drop a little bit in win rate, but third most picked unit in the game? That is absolutely insane. So, would we say 95? I wouldn't... 100 is a little bit too much because I wouldn't really first pick it, and the win rate is not crazy.
It's close because I definitely think she's probably the number one LD in the game right now. It's harder because I don't think she's as dominant as other 100 units have been before, but I still think she should have her own tier because
yeah, she is a little bit above this for sure. I think, would you agree on an in-betweener tier? Because I don't really feel she's 100.
Fine, yeah, I mean, yeah, it works either way.
To be 100, in my opinion, you have to be either first pickable or well, spammable. It certainly is, but there are still fair counters to it with hey gang and kind of stuff. So I would say in between the tier because I do agree it's more spammable than a Zeratul and that kind of stuff. Moving on next, hell ladies. Last time around, people were saying I didn't respect Beth and I should have put Beth in. So let's see. Nope. no. Sorry, guys. I tried. I tried really badly. Well, let's see about one that's actually used. Athena. Definitely not the highest of win rates compared to some of the other counterparts that are fast units, but still pretty solid unit. But I would say the main issue with her is you have to ruin a Sonya, you have to ruin a Shiho, you have to ruin an Athena. That's too much, man.
Yeah. And I would say, in this meta, you can't even, comfortably pick her second rotation, which makes it a bit hard. So I would probably put her on 80.
Yeah, I would say 80 as well. It's just, you can put her on, a weird Violent or a weird Despair. That might be nice as well for some value to throw in runes if you have it for it. But I would say that for full-on Swift contesting, it's better to throw those runes on, Shiho or on Sonya.
Yeah, for sure. Because right now when I see that we have some more units on the list, I would almost already down Julian 1 and Han 1. I don't know if you agree in a way.
Down Julian 1. Julian, I would say yeah. Han. Nah, Han for me is still a little bit too high on win rate for downing one.
Yeah, because it's hard because I just feel the Verd plus Sierra on the same one. But I guess it's kind of fine because the win rate.
Yeah, I think Han still has value because of win rate and something like that. Gloria says that Julian is better than Han. Nah, I wouldn't say so. Well, to be honest, I kind of want to keep Julian at 80 as well because the moment he fits in the draft, he's just so hard to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can see later as well when there's even more.
Yeah, I think we'll keep it at this for now. But we'll definitely do some switcherinos later at some point. Let's see, Asima, barely picked, does have nice win rate, but barely picked. We don't have to place it in. Kraka is also one of those units recently buffed. Does have some value to it, but it's actually picked. 1.5 pick rate, 48 on the win rate. It's not that bad, but for me, 65er once again. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. If you put good rune quality into it, it works when it works, but mostly not really. I want to see if Antares actually makes a comeback at the moment, because I see a little bit more Antares. No, it's just pink red, and it's not winning enough for that to even be a thing. So let's move on to Dragon Knights first. The good old Chow. Chow, 4% pick rate with a 50 win rate. That's actually not bad.
Yeah.
70 or more?
I think 70, yeah. It's good for Chow.
Yeah, I would say 70 as well. If we look just purely by statistics, he should be higher than Camilla. But in my opinion, I think he's kind of same still.
Yeah, pretty much. I think Chow is, even though it's not that similar to Douglas, it's kind of like where you need to have a winning position in draft before you lock it in. And then Chow kind of makes it like a 95% win chance draft, like the same way Douglas does.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Wait, I'm checking one thing. I'm not 100% sure if everything you say is gonna go into the VOD as well. I forgot about that, so I just started recording right now. Just in case. I will mention that in the video if that's the case, but then for starting for now, I know for sure it's like, I just switched my whole OBS and that kind of stuff, so I'm not 100% sure if it goes into the VOD, but we're recording now as well. Then we have Laika. It's close to a 1% pick rate. Do you still have Laika ruined at the moment, or?
I think he might be ruined, and honestly, I think he's actually kind of good to have ruined right now.
Still good old vampire set, or what would you say?
Yeah, vampire, I would say.
65 or higher. Glorious is saying he's a god versus Valeska guys and Lucifer.
Yeah, like he's really good versus Valeska guys. That's why I think he's worth that ruined. I would probably still put him 65 though, but it's not like the 65 units are bad. Like they're almost ideal in some situations.
Yeah, exactly. In the end, everything that's on the list is draftable. Like if it's not on the list, then it will be here. That's mainly the thing. Let's go on to Leo. Leo actually took quite a bit of hit in the win rate. 47 or 48 win rate, 12 on the pick rate. Would still think he's good, but as a like spammer of Sonya, I could claim you, I guess. Would you say Leo really counters you, or is it more of those attempts that doesn't really work because it's on will?
Yeah, I mean it's basically that. Like I think if the Sonya is off will, it's actually good. But if like since my Sonya is on will, it feels like I have an advantage having Sonya on my side versus them having like a Leo, which doesn't do that much by himself.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel the same thing about most Chiros are will, most Sonyas are not will. You actually have to get better rune quality for that in most cases. But I feel like Leo also, when I drafted this, feels like, yeah, it's good. It's still super high on the ban rate. I think I would maybe one-up it for that.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, I think 80 at least, because he's still Leo. Like he will hard carry some drafts.
Yeah, 80 seems fine on that. Good old Jaeger, Scribble's favorite unit in game. Wait. Who boosted this win rate to close to 55 win rate with a 1.39 on the pick? I think it's those weird people that just go for a Jaeger on 100 res together with like an Angela and those kind of weird things, and El Mimo and that kind of stuff. But to be honest, I still give it a 65 by best.
Yeah, I think that's okay. I mean, I'm still one of those who think Jaeger isn't as bad as people say, but I think it can be 65.
Yeah, I would say if his threat state was slightly higher, or like his counter was slightly higher and therefore his threat state was slightly higher, I would say it's good. And then it would definitely go like 75, 80-ish. But right now, it still feels one of those units like, sure, if your whole draft is based around it, maybe. But that's kind of with all of these units here.
Yeah.
How about a Ragdoll? Ragdoll definitely took a really big hit in amount of pick rate. Like win rate, still 49.5 is not bad. But the pick rate being 6.5, that's really low.
Yeah, for sure.
I would say 75 or 75 at least, right? Maybe even still 80.
I think 75 or 80, but I would probably put him 75 right now.
Yeah.
But it might go up to 80 later.
Well, I would say I feel Ragdoll is an 80 for me because people used to like pick him in slot 2, slot 3. I feel like that a Ragdoll right now really fits in a slot 5 or a slot 4, and then he becomes really good if there's a lot of critters on the enemy side. But I would almost say I agree with 70. Like, I've been the biggest Ragdoll hater for a very long time, but to be honest, I see a Ragdoll now as just Irene, and it probably works. So it lost a bit of shine on that one. So this is the lowest I've put Ragdoll ever, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, still, I think there is still drafts where he's okay, and he's not really that rune imposing. Like, he needs high efficiency, but he's not competing with that many units, is what I always say. Like, Fire Monkey is one of the units that he shares runes with.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's usually pretty easy.
Yeah, it's very easy to rune, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, talking about monkeys, let's go to the one and only most picked monkey at the game that has been on the bench for pretty much his whole duration, but now he's number 5 most picked unit, with also from the whole top 5, the highest win rate. Which is absolutely insane. 51.15 on the win rate and close to 35 on the pick rate. Well, I would, to be honest, I feel it's this. 97.5.
I mean, I don't think that's that weird to say. I think there's another element, that you could argue goes in there as well later.
Yeah, I think so as well. But I would say he's just straight up. If you put good artifacts to him, he does so stupidly much damage while being very tanky. And he has the self-protection. There's just so much worth.
Yeah, I think that's.
Go ahead.
I think that's a pretty valid place for him right now.
Well, let's keep him over there. A Fire Monkey, though. I actually should re-rune my Fire Monkey to like a decent state again, because at some previous metas he was kind of falling off, but I feel like he's kind of on point again. Well, 49 win rate is not crazy, but 8.5 pick rate is definitely not bad.
Yeah, I like Fire Monkey a lot right now, actually.
I would say 80. Would you say higher than 80?
I would say 85. But I think it's also because, I don't know, because I see a lot of monkeys built like squishy in a way.
Yeah.
And I've been like going like all in on tankiness of mine now, and it's winning so many games just because of tankiness.
Yeah, exactly. You still go crit rate, crit damage, or you also skip on that?
It's crit damage, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you still go crit damage. Yeah, that's always been the build. Like, really don't focus on much attack and much speed. You get those through the passive anyway. So, yeah, I would say...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 85. I'll go for the 85 as well, yeah. Then the Xingzi. I haven't seen too much of this unit at current meta, actually.
I don't think I've seen a single one.
Still 1.3 on the pick rate, but 43 on the win rate, which is definitely pretty low side. I would say probably even just a 60. I don't really feel like he has too much
60.
value. Light Monkey, though. Also probably not really his meta. It's hard to fit that one in.
Yeah, I would assume so.
Yeah, just simply not picked. Dark Monkey, probably even in worse state. Yep, that's definitely not something you want to pick right there, no. Let's see. Ooh, then we go back to the Chandra. I do still see a fair bit of Chandras, actually.
Yeah.
13 pick rate and 50 on the win rate. Sounds like an 85-ish to me. I wouldn't really classify it higher than that. What would you say?
Yeah, I think 85 is good, for sure.
Yep. Let's keep it right there. Then we move on next to Yan Hong. Okay. Kind of average for the win rate on a 50, but close to 17 on the pick rate. That's actually pretty high. By statistics, it would be around like 90 if we look at those, but for me, I kind of feel more on 85 still.
Yeah, same. There's a lot of people who like her. I feel like this is one of the harder seasons for her.
Yeah.
Like, there's not really many Swift units I like, except Shio right now. And I think that's why Shio feels so good as well, because picking the wind units right now, like the wind Swift units, doesn't feel that great early. So then you don't really have a Swift response to the Shio. So that's why it's also so high in Cryo.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. For me, the biggest issue with her always is that you kind of feel like that if you land the S2, you have to kind of sack to make it work. And wasting an S3 on the first turn feels such a waste. So for me, she's always kind of in an awkward spot, I would say.
Yeah.
So 85 it is?
Yeah, I think 85 is
I would
fine,
say if we make an in-betweener tier, she would be the first one to go up, though.
Yeah, probably along with Chandra, even, I would say. I think both of those are still quite good. Like Yonong is still one of the best Swift units right now. It's just that the Swift units don't feel that good in general, except Shio, basically.
Yeah, that's kind of true. I think we're fair for an in-betweener tier for those two, because they do definitely feel better than like a Sierra and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, we got them over there. I've seen some people spam Wu Yongs with like a whole bunch of other LDs, but therefore I do feel like she's 1% pick rate plus. She's 2% pick rate. Who's doing this? Why would you pick Wu Yong? 45 win rate. Yeah, it's like, she buffed, I guess, but straight up 60 for me. I don't like her, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fine. Like, I actually quite like her a bit, but as long as she's above Trinity, I'm okay with the ranking. Because I definitely like her more than Trinity.
I would pick her over Trinity as well. Like, that's for sure. Like, she has a lot more value than that. But for me, it's still like, you need like probably 6 more LDs to actually make the full complete draft. And otherwise, it's kind of garbage.
thing with Wolyung, especially now after a buff, which I think people are sleeping on a little bit, is because like having speed lead and being able to boost your team, kind of like how Chiwu, like the really fast Chiwus work, right? I think
Yeah.
that's really strong. And now she got 25 boost, I believe. So you can
Um,
kind of mess around with Heigangs a little bit.
Let me quickly check.
Depending on
I
your
have
server.
her over here somewhere, I guess. Yeah, it's 25 boost. The only big issue she has that if your allies are not full HP, you don't boost, which is
Yeah.
super weird for that condition in the first place. But I'll give it maybe a 1-up for if you go for like the whole thing.
Yeah, I think that's okay.
I also already checked out Wusa, but Wusa is not doing the good old Wusa days. What the hell is this win rate? 44.5.
Yeah, it's funny because like end of last season he was probably at like 52 or something.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I still feel Wusa is not a bad unit if you have it properly ruined, but I would say 70.
Yeah, I think so. Compared to the units in 65, makes sense.
Yep, good old Chiwu. I still like to have Chiwu rune because it's one of those few things that it strips and it has speed lead, which is pretty rare. So for me, Chiwu is also 70, even though win rate is not super high, pick rate is 1%, but I still like my Chiwu from time to time. What would you say?
I think that's probably around there. Or even it's hard because I mean even the units in 65, right? They have their perfect slots as well.
Yeah.
I would probably put it about the same as Wolyung though.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah. Yeah, let's go for that. That's fine. Nikong, definitely not used. Wunsa is probably still used. Even though also definitely not having the best of seasons for it. Glorious, what did you do to this rank? 45.5 on the win rate, on the 4% pick rate. That's definitely not the best season out there. The trash unit, he says. I would still say it's better than Chiwa at the moment, but it's definitely nothing crazy.
Yeah, I think just 70.
Yeah, 17 seems about fine for those. I wonder, Tessarion always does super terrible in the win rates. Does he do right now? Wait, this is the first season where I see Tessarion with a positive win rate because it's not picked that much. But still it's below 1% pick rate, so...
I mean, honestly, I think this season I can kind of see Tessa a little bit more. Because usually I would always like put him at the lowest tier.
Yeah,
but now I think you could almost... Yeah, I mean, he's low pick rate, right? So I would probably just put him at 65.
Yeah, I think I'm going to place him in for credit where he's there, but I would say a 65 is fair for him, yeah. Ermos. Also not a unit picked that much anymore, I would say. Most people just go more towards Nobara if they can pick a Pheromos, I would say.
Yeah.
50.
I still think he's quite good, though.
Yeah, I think he's still decent, and he doesn't really take too much runes of other things. So 2.5 pick rate, almost 50 on the win rate. 70, or do we go 65?
I would much rather have him 70, because I would almost look into 75, but I would probably put him at 70 in that case.
Yeah, I would say 70 is fine for him. Let's see, do we have Light Polar Queen being used at the moment? Do you use yours at the moment, or not at all?
Not right now, since right now I'm like playing more Bruiser stuff.
Yeah, makes sense. She doesn't really... It's also one of those things, like, sure, you could make your Sonya move twice or something, but then your Sonya gets banned, so it's cool if it works, but often the whole comp is just kind of broken.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see. I've seen some more people play Lydia after the SWEL where Crispy Bacon was doing that, but I don't think it's any good.
I actually feel like she's a little bit slept on, to be honest.
Yeah,
she's not like amazing, but I would probably put her in the tier above Fermion. And it's not like Fermion is Fermion is still decent, you know. And I would probably still rate Lydia above that.
Let's see if I can find her. It's always one of those hard units to find because they're somewhere at the bottom. Oh, here, bottom left. Yeah, well, okay. 55 win rate. What you're saying is definitely right. 55 win rate, close to 1% pick rate. So I would say the one above Fermion. 70? Yeah, 70 it is. I wouldn't go higher than that, but 70 I definitely agree with, yeah.
Yeah, because thing is, like people are kind of memeing on her buff, right? With just getting more reflect. But that's actually a big deal because she gained like 20% tankiness for free from having that. And she was already pretty tanky as a unit while dealing good damage.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So let's see over there. What else do we have? We were here. Yep. Poseidon, definitely not. Tetra. I think you have better options than Tetra nowadays, but might still be one of those things that people like to pick. No, below 0.5% pick rate or close to 0.5% pick rate, so let's not do. Okeanos, though. Okeanos is picking up a lot of attraction at the moment, and I've been really liking Okeanos.
18, yeah, Oki is really nice, I would say.
Yeah, 18 pick rate and close to 53 on the win rate. Isn't that one of the highest win rates altogether for units above 2%?
I mean, that's probably just like for a G3 data at least. That's probably the best unit, maybe.
Yeah, that's like if we look purely by pick rate, win rate, Mieng is doing better, but Okeanos is pretty much second in that regard. It's picked a little bit less, but I would say Okeanos 95.
Yeah, I think that's okay. Like I would say, like for the data, he's probably 97.5 even, but I think 95.
Yeah, I feel like he still has his fair share of counters, but Okeanos is really strong. The big issue I have with Okeanos is that his skill is still weird, inconsistent. Like 3 to 5 stones, doing add damage of 3 stones or 5 is so much difference.
It is.
So therefore, I would say it's like, if he had that a little bit higher, if he always threw 4 stones, he would be 97.5.
That would be nice. Yeah, I was gonna say that I should make it so it's always 4 stones instead of.
Yeah, like if it was always 4, I like him here, but now the inconsistency value, it is cool to see that his S2 can get double resisted right now. I had that twice in one match. I'm like, that is the rate of an LD5. Thank you. Useless. Oh man, so of these matches. Moving on next, Pandas. I don't think we have to look at Triton, right? If wounds are even that bad, I can't imagine Triton being any good. Pandas is 48, 2% pick rate. Not bad numbers, but 75-ish or higher? Or lower?
I think either 65 or 70, I think. But probably just 70, because it's still a speed lead for me.
Yeah, I feel like he has some value in the final pick. I wouldn't pick him anything earlier than 5th, but he kind of fits with the other 5th, so I will give him a 70 for that, yeah. I do quickly want to see if Triton is in, but I highly would surprised if Triton has any pick rate at the moment, because...
Yeah, I mean, Triton would probably be Triton might be one of the few units that would be below 40% win rate if it was actually picked a lot right now.
Yeah, probably. Let's see the Bay. We got Ammo Dance here in chat, so we definitely have to respect the Bay. Ammo. The fuck are you doing with 39 win rate, brother? Stop doing that. No one likes that. Keep that shit hidden, man. Keep that shit hidden.
Hey, but honestly, that might be a good thing, because that means that he's G3 when he's playing it.
Fair, and then he's losing all of the win rates.
Yeah, but like, at least he gets to G3 when he plays it, you know? So that might be a good thing.
Yeah, that's fair, but then again, the moment you hit G3, stop playing that shit, it ain't working. Sekhmet, also one of those units pretty low on the win rate. 47 win rate, pick rate still 11. I think she also kind of has the issue that there's just so much better Swift units out there right now. I would still give her value for resetting certain things like Shizuka's, Federica's, that kind of stuff, but I don't know. 75 or lower, or higher, it's also an option.
Yeah, I think she's closer to 80 than 70 though, but I think 75 is okay right now.
Yeah, I would say she's definitely not on Athena level, in my opinion. Like, if we compare it to that, then Athena's definitely higher.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm getting spammed right now, and otherwise, let me just mute this one for a second. Otherwise, you hear bleep bleep on your background the whole time in the video. Okay, moving on next. Wait, we had Sekhmet. The unit I don't want to see getting back into meta. And I think no one wants to see getting back into meta. Hathor. But it has been used a bit. Okay, it has not been used anymore. Thank you, keep it that way. I don't want to even put it in the list. Neftis, however. Worst season for Neftis since ever, I would say. 47 win rate is really low for Neftis.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a big fan of either like Neftis or Max right now, but I still think they can be okay as your secondary speed lead, but I think Sierra is so much better almost always compared to those two. There's sometimes where both Nef and Maxi can be better than the Sierra. but it's so rare, and like Sierra doesn't feel as demanding either in the draft as both of them.
Yeah, I would say so as well, because she really needs an AoE CC, and she kind of wants to be in the first pick, because speed leads are mostly locked out early on. And then the moment someone picks Nefties, you know exactly what's gonna come. 2 AoE strippers, do this, do that. Like, you know exactly what's coming, and therefore, she just doesn't really fit that much. But I would maybe still give her an 80, just by the feeling of you can still build her on a Swift set, and she totally does fine. What would you say?
I think it's hard to say. Like, I definitely think she's significantly worse than the other 3 in 80. I can kind of agree on 75 though, because it's still kind of worth to have on the Swift set, like I say, but it's not going to be good on the Swift set, because then you would much rather just have a like pretty budget Despair Sierra or something, I feel like.
Yeah, that's fair. Let's keep it 75. I'm fine with the 75 on that one, yeah. Moving on next. Isis. Don't think that's really used, but I want to give a little bit of a peek to it. Could be a thing that we have somewhere. Isis, most likely not really used. Nope. Nope. Definitely not. Okay, let's move on to Amduat. I definitely do think Amduat is a fair amount of use at the moment. I was very wrong. Amduat is not really used. Wadjet. Ever since the Wadjet nerf, I never really liked Wadjet anymore. Like, during the Wadjet, like, prime time, he was so incredibly good. But after, like, 45 win rate, he has 1% pick rate. I think people try him out with, like, Gojos and stuff, but not my cup of tea.
I don't like it much.
I would say 65 by best. Maybe even
yeah, I mean, I think that's... Yeah, 65 is okay, I think.
Yeah, I would almost say 60, but 65 I kind of give him okay for. Moving on next, we got some Fairy Kings. I saw your final Samath game. Was that a Rage Samath or was it a Despair one?
No, it was just a Despair one.
Okay, so probably killing the CR in that case would have been difficult as well, even with the crit.
Yeah, I think it would have been close with the crit though, since the game was kind of late.
Yeah, that's true. Samath is 48 win rate, 1.22 on the pick. I would say 70, wouldn't really give it much more. Would you say more because of the speed lead value?
I definitely like him more than Neftis, but I think putting it on the same level would be kind of fine. And it is like one of the pickable 33s, so I would probably put him 75 at least.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. Daphnis. I haven't seen Daphnis all too much except for like Leo counters. Oh, we got a primer. Thank you very much.
I picked him once today, but I lost.
Once, yeah. For me, it's like it's actually 1% pick rate with 49 win rate. I think it's mainly Shizuka players that kind of still like it, but I would still say kind of coin flip-ish. 65, not much better than that.
Yeah, I think that's fine because I still think it's like one of the best picks you can do into some like super dedicated turn 2 players because Federica and stuff won't do enough damage.
Yeah,
Daphnis,
that's true.
if you like build a Daphnis for those guys, like it will do enough damage if you land. But then you also need to land.
Yeah, that's the big issue. Like not landing on that unit is just so detrimental. Let's see if the Ganymede. I saw a few people kind of pick up Ganymede again. I don't think it's bad. 52 on the win rate, 1% on the pick rate. But then again, I'll give it kind of a 65 by best as well.
Yeah, I think 65 is okay.
The unit everyone has been waiting for, Misty. I think I can find the Misty win rate by just selecting the highest win rate out there. Yep. 50, close to 55 win rate. Close to 5% pick rate. That is insane. Well, actually, by win rate, if we're looking at anything higher than 2%, Misty is number 1. Which is pretty darn insane. For the people that don't know, the typical set is Vampire, Speed, Crit Rate, HP, I would say. And offset Revenge.
Yeah, I think Revenge is the best. Nemesis is also quite good. I think it's one of those.
Yeah. Would we say 95 higher or lower?
I don't know. It's weird. Like, I definitely like him quite a bit.
I think he's too low on pick rate, right? For that reason, he's just like, sure, he can really work, but I don't think he's super insane.
Yeah, like, I think his pick rate is actually quite high as well. I mean, it's not super high, but it's decent high for a unit like that.
Yeah, definitely. I think it also takes a little bit more time for people to...
Yeah, like I think 90 for him right now.
Yeah, I
makes
think
kinda sense.
90 is fair as well, because in the end, these are all like pretty spammable super hard counters, and this one is still. I think he's also high on win rate because people didn't really figure out the right counter to him yet. And the moment they figured that part out, in the end, if his base stats were net 5 worthy, he would be straight up there. But his base
Yeah, I
stats
mean,
are pretty
yeah.
shit.
If he had a 5 base stats, he would be 100, I think.
Yeah, I think so as well. Like,
That's a big deal.
this thing is everything that the light series wanted to be. But I think it's fine to keep it 90 for now. If we make a 92.5, I would consider him the first one to go up. Maybe. But that's a maybe. Oh, wait. I still missed out a few other Fairy Kings. Let's see. Where do we have Oberon? I think Oberon is also one of those where it's just the Shizuka players or like a Yan Hong player that would like to use it. Besides that, not that much. It is actually super high on the win rate, 56, but 1% pick rate. But I think it's exactly those people, Yan Hong people and that kind of stuff. I would give it some more value than a Daphnis, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think that's okay. 70. He also got the extra base speed, which, I mean, it's only 2 base speed. Or 3.
Yeah. But
3,
it still helps out a lot a bit.
Pretty decent.
Let's see Nyx. I'm not a Nyx enjoyer in RTA at all. It's not that bad, 48 on the win rate, 2.5 on the pick rate. But I would give it by best a 70 as well. What would you say?
Yeah, I think that's okay. Because there are actually like spots where he's actually gonna, like, even though he's very RNG, it's gonna be in some drafts where the enemy aren't really like pressuring you enough. Like that RNG is bound to happen. And if they're that vulnerable to it, it will be really strong.
Yeah, my biggest issue with him is that he's just pretty much, he feels just the passive. Like, sure, he has the reset and the strip on S2, but most cases he just is like, yeah, if the passive pops off, he's strong. If that part doesn't happen, he's like, yeah, it was kind of there.
Yeah.
Let's see about Racuni. I think Racuni is doing super good in current season. 51 on the win rate, 8 on the pick rate. Not a bad red over there. And that's a net 3 base stat. Imagine this thing being net 5 base stat. Will we say 80? Or higher?
I
would say 85.
I think 85 is pretty good, actually.
Yeah, I think like 85. He also has the stupid good like combo with so many of the good net 5s out there right now. So yeah, 85 seems fair on that stupid red. Molong. I haven't seen a Molong in a bit. Is 1.5 pick rate. So credits to Molong, but I think we can agree on a 70 or 65.
Yeah, I think 65.
Yeah, I would say 65 more than 70, yeah. I would say maybe on a Swift set, like it has some more value. Because I think Vampire is a little bit bad right now because he doesn't destroy as much HP on himself. But he's still kind of weird.
I mean, I guess in a weird way, like Molong might be good for Velasca owners in a weird way. But I don't think they're... Like, I haven't seen any Molong Velasquez, but I can see that being interesting.
Yeah, true. Well, Feng Yang is below 1% pick rate. Actually surprised about that, but sure. Tian Lang, however, definitely above 1% pick rate. 51.51 on the win rate, 17.5 on the pick rate. Also really strong unit in current meta because of he's just simply countering so many things that gain attack bar, like Megamis and that kind of stuff. I would say 95. Would you say higher, lower, or same?
I would also say 95. I think he's as good as Zeratul or maybe even worse. So I think, I mean, it's close. So I would probably say...
Yeah, I think they're pretty equal. Big issue I have with this Panda, if he never activates his armor break, it's just so annoying. But I guess that's an all Panda thing.
Yeah.
Let's see about the real Panda. 18 and 18.13 on the pick rate and 53.70 on the win rate. Plus, it is arguably the best counter to one of the best LDs in game. For me, Panda goes 100. Or do we say 97.5?
It's hard. Like, I think if it goes 100, Gianna also goes 100 though, and I could kind of see it.
Yeah, but I still think that Shio is better than both of them, though, or like at least same. Like I think what makes his value higher than Gianna is that he counters Gianna, which is pretty insane. Like it's one of very few units that counters pretty much. Like if we look at what's at the top, except for the Zeratul, he counters all of them, which is definitely an insane value.
Yeah.
And for
I
me,
mean, I think 97.5 is kind of good though, because he's not like, I mean, he is picked a lot,
yeah,
but
he's
it's not
not
the highest pick rate
super
one. So he is
spammable.
picked in response to like what's picked
Yeah,
right now. So I think 97.5 is
yeah, that's fair.
pretty fair.
That's fair. If we look at the numbers, if we compare it to a Okeanos, he's a bit higher than Okeanos, and he is a bit higher than Okeanos. Fair. These two are like crazy spammable. I agree with that. Yeah, I could have had this thing, but I took a demon. Worst choice in life. I still regret that, but holy shit. But yeah, then
Yeah,
again, in
I mean, it can
hindsight, you
happen.
never know.
I think I would have picked Beelzebub as well,
Yeah,
probably.
like
Because
it's
I think that was before I started Serening. I mean, both of them kind of have some Seren synergy, though.
yeah, yeah. It's just one of those things. Like you never know what they're gonna buff, especially with Calm to us. Like they buff
Di-
fully at random.
Did you hear about like how I think he should be buffed, the Dark Demon?
Didn't you say that the moment that you come back, you get your skill 2 back or something like that?
Yeah, because I think that would be like actually pretty huge. Like he's not going to be like 15% pick rate or anything, but I think that would make him feel a lot better to play.
Yeah, I still would like him on, rather than him having a death mechanic and coming back from death mechanic, I would like to see him cheat death and immediately use the S2 the moment he's supposed to die.
So kind of like a Samath, I guess, on
Yeah,
the or like Ayunu a bit.
yeah, like Ayuno, but then he cheats death, so he nullifies his HP or like his damage like a Zenitsu. So it takes like 0 damage, but he immediately smashes his S2 on that.
Mm.
Which then could also be if you one-shot it from full HP, he does an S2 on full HP, and then it's kind of useless again.
Yeah.
So it's not too crazy, but it's definitely more of an interesting mechanic than it has to die to come back to then do maybe something. It's just kind of weird. Plus the attack bar on revive, you cannot even get them anymore. It's just weird. But yeah, if they're ever gonna buff the demon, they haven't done so in 7 years. So I would be surprised. Let's see about Diana. I actually do like Diana because there's so much Shio in the meta. But Diana's not doing good for win rate. Like 45 and a half. 3% pick. I would still say 75, but if she's doing that bad, I would also aim towards 70.
Yeah, I think 70. Yeah, 70 looks good to me.
Okay, let's rock it on the 70 then. Let's see for the next. These we of course, the other pony. The most annoying pony in game. If it works. And when it doesn't work, it's also the most annoying pony, but then for the owner. I have this unit. Sometimes it's really good, sometimes really bad, but she's just so sacky, man. She's so sacky. 52.5 on the win rate. Pick rate was like 4 point something. I would definitely say better than Racuni, but do we go for 90? I'm not sure.
I think 90. Like I don't think she can compete with Sarah to TL, but I would say 90 is good.
Yeah, she does counter the Sonya if she works in that kind of stuff, and that's super high value.
I think so I think countering Sonya with her is kinda bad in a way. I mean, like I think if you pick Eleanor and then pick a Sonya into you, it's like really good for you. But I think the reason she feels sacky is because people just feel helpless and they try to sack.
Yeah.
But I think if you actually draft her in good situations, it's not that much sack. Because then you're basically just waiting for one opportunity, and then she's really good versus vulnerable drafts, basically.
Yeah, I would say so. A 90 is fair on her. But the moment she insanely sacks, she's higher than that. The moment she doesn't sack at all, she's 85. That's also definitely a factor on her. Alexandra. I don't think that she really fits in meta at all, so I don't really expect to see her. Nope. But we do definitely see some Vivagel. Celia, I'm pretty sure I don't have to check as well. Vivagel is definitely an interesting unit at the moment, because I see a lot of Vivagels that move right after a Shiho, and then you can still do the skill 3 on the Shiho, which is really high value.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, she's like one of the most picked ones. Even in G1, it's like one of the most... I think it's the second most picked after Gianna, probably.
Yeah, that's actually 22. That's actually a lot higher than I thought. Do we make that 90, or do we make that...
I think it should be same as... Like, you could almost argue 95, but I would say she might go in like an in-between, like 92.5.
Yeah, for me, like her win rate is not really representing that, but...
Because I think she's in, like, she's probably in top 5.
Yeah, she is also first pick. That is actually being a first pickable. That's definitely worth a. I would say we go for the in-betweener. Wrong color. This one, and then I would also say Misty joins in. Do you agree?
Yeah, sure.
Because Misty just kind of stupid. Celia, pretty sure I don't have to check. People were saying don't sleep on Tablo. I think I can definitely sleep on Tablo. I don't think that unit is used that much at the moment.
Yeah, like usually if Tablo is somewhat good, I will have one ruined and play it here.
Yeah, no, it's below 1% pick rate and 46 on the win rate. That's definitely a no-go for being any good at the moment. Then the unit I hate the most in current meta, Josephine, which is doing way too good. 51 win rate on a 23% pick rate. I'm not liking this, man. To be honest, yeah, I think she's not Okeanos tier, but I would say 92.5.
It should be, yeah.
Like, yeah, she's
hard.
Not like, competing with those though. They're like too good because she's still a very reactive pick, whereas those are like more spammable-ish. But she's
actually, honestly, I think 95 is actually pretty nice for her. Because I think the reason why she has good win rate right now is because, like before, no one like really puts a good set on her. But in this season, you can actually put good runes on it and actually justify it.
Who the hell in their right mind first picks this, by the way? Probably when they were matching more often against
yeah, exactly. And they're just mad because they got Josephine and like, oh, I'm going to pick it.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, the thing is, if she always procs every turn, she's off the chart. She's like 105. But yeah, I would say 95. I think I have to invest a better set into her as well. She's so stupid, annoying. And the thing which makes her really strong into, let's say, a Fire Monkey or something, if something starts off without immunity, it is 2-turn provoke. 2-turn provoke takes so long to shake off. So yeah, that's I'm already hating this meta by just this unit being at 95, but I do agree.
But that's like the funny thing, because if it's like a turn 2 meta, she shouldn't be that high. So it's like a weird season right now because both.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just a lot of different stuff that's viable.
Yeah, I expected this tier list also to be way more top heavy than most tier lists I had, because most tier lists is like few units in like the top 3 ranks, and then after that you get like a whole bunch of units. But in here it's like everything feels good at the moment.
Yeah.
Avelio still picked a little bit, 5% pick rate. What was it? Close to 49 on the win rate. I would say 70, maybe 75.
Yeah, I think 75, I would probably say.
Yeah, he still has some value in some bruiser matchups where
he's definitely
like S2 with armor break is so much damage.
Yeah. He's definitely good in some of the like Velasca drafts if you don't have a full defense one.
Yeah. Let's see if actually the Valantis buff did any good for Valantis, because he's a lot easier to rune right now. 50 win rate, 2% pick rate. Not crazy, but it's also not really his meta. If it was more his meta with the buff, he would have been really good. Right now, I would say, because it's not his meta, maybe more 70? Or would you say 75?
Yeah, I think 70 is... it's close. I would probably put him 75 then.
Yeah, I still really like him. It's a really good 5th pick, but he's more of those things that, it just doesn't really fit the meta.
Yeah.
Let's see about Pader. Should be decent on win rate because it's countering Gianna, arguably. Not too bad. 50.66 and 5% pick rate. I think the win rate is a little bit lower because Gianna is still that strong. And the thing is, in his bear form, he doesn't counter the Gianna anymore, which makes him kind of weak. But I would give him 80.
Yeah, I think... Yeah, sure. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, 80 sounds fine for him. Do we want to check Geltnir? I've seen some Geltnir plays where it's actually...
Yes, I want to check Geltnir right now.
Yeah, you did have your second to last match against the Geltnir or something weird, exactly. Right? 61.5 win rate. It's 0.5 pick, but I think if he fits, he fits that good that he should be banned, or he's just straight up gonna win. Because his healing is absolutely insane. So I want to give him credit, though. Like, if you have a Gelnir, keep him ruined up for sure.
It's hard, though, to give him credits at that pick rate, because I feel like to give him credit, he kind of needs to be on...
More matches. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Let's see for other
I
ranks.
think 70K, yeah. Because I think it's pretty similar to Seimei, except that Seimei is a lot more pickable.
Yeah, true, true. Yeah, let's give him 70. Let's continue on. Oh, there we have... Well, let's go Bella. I think Bella's barely picked at the moment as well. It's just... If you wanted to rune up a Bella, might as well throw that at a Fire Twin Angels. It's better.
Yeah.
I also haven't seen that much of Bella's as of recently. I also cannot really find it here at the top. I'm pretty sure she's just not used.
Yeah, it was down there beside Gurkha. I think I saw it.
Gurkha. Ah, yeah. Yeah, that's 013. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. These demons, I want to check the demon just for the sake of checking the demon, because I know some other people that like to spam their LDs picked him up recently, such as Hanselot and Rax. But I don't think he would do anything good towards anything still. Those units towards the bottom are always so hard to find. Oh, here. Yeah, 40% win rate. That shit we keep hidden. Moving on, Beast Riders. Do we see some Barbaras nowadays? It was buffed like a few times already. Still kind
I haven't really seen any Barbaras.
Yeah, it's still kind of hard to fit in, I would say. Yeah, definitely not. Actually, one that I did see, which was very interesting on the win rate, was the Masha. Masha took a really hard hit on a win rate. 46 win rate, 2.5% pick rate.
Yeah, that's weird, because I feel like she should be kind of okay with dealing with a lot of stuff right now.
Yeah, I think the main issue she probably has is that she's really bad into the Josephine.
Yeah.
Bad into the Shiho. I think that
like Josephine match up with her. Doesn't she get the will, or like can Masha get stunned on her hit that she revenges?
I think she gets the immunity before or like during taking the turn, so she should not be stunned on the provoke. Actually, no. So it's more probably the Shiho issue that's dropping her win rate.
Shiho for sure.
But I would say a good Masha at the good take is probably still pretty nice, but it's also not really worth the runes at the moment anymore.
Yeah, and it's also like kind of hard now that people are going more tanky. You don't really get the same, like that you're almost deleting a unit from just an S2.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see if we see any Narsha. I'm pretty sure Savannah I don't have to look at, but Narsha might be one of those things that people still value. Now we get into the scenarios where it's all units somewhere towards the bottom. Nope, low pick rate. Sienna, pretty sure low pick rate. Then we go into Hey Gang, which is currently
Can we check Savannah though? Because I'm actually curious.
We can definitely check if I can find her. Okay, it was a fast find. That's just Sambi Sep. Sambi Sep has the most insane set I've ever seen on this unit, and that's about just the whole pick rate on it.
Wait, I mean the win one, Savannah. Yeah.
Savannah. Would you say Despair? You had her on Despair for a while, right?
Yeah, I still have her on Despair, and I think it's okay. Wait, that's weird though.
Yeah, this is. These are all your matches.
Hey, I actually thought my Savannah was 100% win rate. No way, that's only mine.
Well, that's.
I only picked it like 4 or 5 times, though. I'm pretty sure.
Well,
so maybe
then the others lost 100% if you're 100% win rate. So. It is after balance patch, yeah. So it's maybe if you picked it before. Well, let's see about Hey Gang. Well, Hey Gang is currently, I think, number 4 most picked unit. Does have one of the worst win rates from the most picked units, but then again, that is damn insane, actually. I would say 92.5. No, maybe too high for the... No, I actually feel like Hey Gang, the current meta is really strong. Would you say so?
Yes and no, in a way. Like, it's weird. Because I'm actually surprised that he's this high win rate right now compared to what he's before, because I feel like...
He was always super low, and at the time that he was super low, you were like really saying like, oh, Hey Gang is so good. And now Hey Gang kind of feels like, do you actually really counter it? But he's suddenly higher in win rate. I agree with you.
But yeah, I think probably 90 is okay, like with Juno and Vanessa. Makes sense.
Yeah, I would say so as well, yeah. Yeah, the weird thing is he kind of counters
No,
like
I think it has to be 92.5, even though I don't really like picking myself much right now.
Yeah, the thing is he counters Gianna, he kind of counters the Shiho combo, he counters a lot of those like super annoying units, so plus it's also high on the ban rate, that's actually a good take as well. The ban rate from all of the first or all of the high picks he is by far the highest, so yeah, a rough one. I'm actually gonna give it a 90, because in the end it's more of those you often also lack damage if you draft him in, and that's kind of his big downfall.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I feel, because now it's very Bruce Reed, and that's why I don't like him that much right now. Because you don't really win just from the turn 1.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you definitely have to draft him with anything else that provides more buffs at all times. If you draft him without that, and just for turn 1 value, he's really bad. Let's see about Joe Gunn. Shouldn't be that far down. I do think he's been used a lot at the moment, no?
Yeah, it should be.
Should be, but I cannot find him.
Oh, he's beside Chiwu.
Now I gotta find Chiwu.
Okay, he's in the 3rd row. Pretty high up.
Third row. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Yep, 15 the 51 point and a half win rate, 13 on the pick, is definitely really strong.
Yeah, that's actually a lot higher than I thought it would be.
Yeah, it's definitely part. I think a lot of the really top players, then we're talking like Diligent, Tars, those kind of guys, I think got an insane win rate with them. And then the rest is kind of like averaging 50, and therefore he's that high of a win rate.
Yeah.
I would say he's probably this. I wouldn't give him higher than that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me he's like in maybe 87.5, but I think according to the, like, if we're gonna give the stats some merit, he kind of needs to be on 90, I guess, because he's actually like really high pick rate and stuff. Because I think that's the hard part when you're only looking at G3 data. Because I think if we're already looking at G1, it's gonna be a bit lower.
Yep.
Pick rate, right?
What I would have to give him credit for as well, the ban rate is actually pretty high as well. So I think the ban rate makes it where I would say a 90 to him as well, because he needs a specific comp, but the moment he fits in the specific comp, and the scroll trap in the end is still a really annoying thing. So yeah, it's pretty nice on 90,
yeah,
I would say.
I guess 90 is okay.
Do we still see chunk punks? I do like myself a chunk punk in the right draft, but it is super rare where I do like it actually. But it still has one of those units, like if you have like leftover despairs that are a bit slower and it can work, it's still really nice. But then a big issue, finding the thing. Why can we not have units that are easy to find? Wait, it shouldn't be that far down. Far right. Ah, yeah. Thank you. Oh, what the hell is this win rate? 54 win rate on a 1% pick rate? That is actually insane. But yeah, like I said, in the right draft at the right timing, he's pretty good still. But is that 75 good or 70 good?
I think 70 or 65. I would rather put him 65 than 75, so probably 70.
Okay, then we sit in between, we go for 70.
I think Chong Pong's strength is that he's basically always putting the enemy to 0. Like, he's super consistent with that.
Yeah, even wrong element, like, he can definitely do that.
Yeah, exactly. It's just the issue that he doesn't bring that much damage by himself, and he's already taking like one of the slots where you need the setup.
True. Yeah, I think he's mainly just a 5th pick. Well, Mugwol is definitely not used anymore. And then we go into Moor. Would you see more Moors right now on rage builds, or do you still see more on normal builds?
It's like a bit of a mix, I guess. But I would say there's quite a bit of rage Moors.
Yeah, actually, the rage Moor, it's cool if it works, but it's one of those things mostly it doesn't. So therefore, it really tanks the win rate, I think.
Yeah.
I would say I value a Sierra more than I value a Moor in most cases. Would you agree?
Yeah, for sure. I think Moor is probably a 70 right now. Like one of the few...
70 even?
Yeah, I would say so. I really think he's...
Yeah, by win rate, definitely is a lot lower, but I still kind of
give him... a random Moor buff number 2 coming now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I would say if you compare it with a Neftis and a Samath, I would probably rather draft these at the moment than a Moor. Yeah, I would say so. More
Ah,
I'm kind of aiming this. What would you say?
yeah, it's close. Maybe 75 still.
Yeah, like in the end, like if he really fits or you have a really good set on him, he's still really nasty for the damage output. Good old Douglas, the unit you expect to solo and then he dies to a Carnal. 50% win rate. It's actually not that bad for, well, it's mainly last picks do better, but I would say similar to like Chow and these kind of things, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's about
Would be so
fine
good.
for that one. Let's see. Do people actually use talismans in here? I highly doubt that. Also going to be a hard one to find, most likely. That was not that bad. Nope. Van Cliff. Also not really. Now we can move on to the next. Carnal. I don't really see too many Carnals. Also, if you have a good Carnal, I would rather have that set at a Eshir. It's just, in my opinion, so much better.
Yeah, for sure.
65 or 70?
I think 65, I would say.
Yeah, I would say so as well. Win rate is
Same as well.
48-ish. It's definitely nothing too crazy. And as mentioned, like I wouldn't really want to put a set on him. There's probably a better unit to put that set on. Let's see about Cigar. Cigar, if you still have a good rune, it's not that bad. 49 on the win rate, about 5 on the pick rate. Good old 75-ish or higher?
I think 70 for a Cigar.
70 even. I'm kind of in between those two. Like I would say I wouldn't give him a Vio set, I would give him a Swift set. But then he also, of course, lowers in value. He's definitely not worth to rune on Vio at the moment because he needs 2 good runes for that. But on Swift at a random thing, yeah, I think even then, like I have him on Swift and I never draft him, so 70 is fine.
I think there might need to be like a 72.5 because there's like a lot of units in 75 and 70.
Yeah, let's actually do another in-betweener. This is also the thing with the most in-betweeners ever. I don't mind that. So I would say Cigar goes up, more goes down. Yeah. What else do we have?
I think I think Vermos goes up.
Yeah, probably. Vermos up. I feel like I barely draft any Vermos anymore because of Juno being good and Nobara being good. I'd rather draft those two together than a Vermos with it, right?
Yeah, but thing is, I think Juno is also so much higher than Vero, though. So I think 72.5 for Vero.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Crazy.
I think for the others, it's kind of fine-ish. Yeah. Do you see any others that you would like to put in the 72?
Maybe Douglas, but I think he's kind of fine there as well.
Yeah, I would say he's kind of... No, actually, I think Douglas is one of those things. Even if he's not drafted, he's still in people's mind. And I think that has some value as well. Because if you draft the wrong thing, you know you're 100% gonna get Douglas, and you 100% have to ban it. And I think he's one of the very few units that has that much value to always have to be in your mind. Because every enemy will slap him in there if you have the wrong draft for it. So he has some more value for that.
And he's like he's picked in similar ways that Chow tries to be picked, but he basically has close to 100% win rate when he's picked in those situations.
Yeah,
Chow still loses like 40% of the time when he's the perfect pick.
Yeah, you know? That was always with I think last year and the year before SWC is like, oh, this looks like the perfect Chow. It's gonna lose anyways. Let's see. I'm pretty sure Greg is used. It's definitely one of those units a lot of people still ask for buffs for. But he's usable. He's not great, but he is usable. 1% on the pick rate, 74 on the win rate. I still give that a 65. Like, it's nothing crazy, to be honest. But I think he's pickable.
Yeah, I think 65 is okay.
Gurkha. I don't have a Gurkha, but I feel to a certain extent that Gurkha's underrated.
I mean, he probably is underrated because people are just saying that he got Gurkha and that he doesn't exist. But I still feel like he's probably 60.
Yeah,
but
I kind of want to give him credit.
doesn't mean that he's completely unplayable.
Yeah, I kind of want to give him credit.
Is still good some games, but I would still put him at 60 overall.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, if you have some supports next to him that can keep him alive because that part is missing, he can still lock down whole teams, especially if they're not doing that much on the skill 1. He can be really annoying. Plus, he has not that bad damage.
Yeah. I think it's hard though because I think when you someone said it about
Branya?
the water, like water Indra.
Yeah. Yeah.
Both of the Indras are like really good because they have some self-sustain as well.
Yeah. The only thing that
they
he
can be
has
reset
up,
though. That's the big difference that Gurk
Yeah.
has on them.
The only thing that he has up though is the armor break, which is not that bad.
Yeah.
Let's see about Shizuka. I haven't seen that much Shizuka in current meta, but it's still definitely always
I
there.
actually see her a lot now compared to.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're
before.
right. 9% on pick rate, 51.40 on win. I maybe should re-rune her as well. I never liked her because I'm a Gianna owner and you bomb and you explode or you do the skill 3 and then she takes a vial and she has bomb and stunt on your whole team. It's like, yeah. But credit where credit due, by numbers, she should be upwards of this somewhere.
Yeah, I think 80 or even 85 because she's like really good versus Shiho.
Yeah, the Shiho value is like giving the invis immunity to the whole team. That's definitely some value. Plus, most Shihos aren't crazy on accuracy, so she would survive that hit for sure. Yeah, 85 makes sense for the Shiho. Tomoe. I've seen actually some Tomoe drafts that I was impressed by how well it still worked.
I mean, that's kind of the thing with Tomoe. Like, when it works, it looks really broken, but then...
Yeah, you're very right on that. Like, it's just 1.1% pick rate and 49 on the win rate. Then again, I have an Akroma, and any Tomoe kind of style of drafts against an Akroma is just done for. 65 or 70?
I think 65 still. Like, it's still nice to have.
Yeah.
Honestly, no, 70 is fine. 70.
I think 70 is fine, yeah. I still see like the Layla buff did give her a bit more value as well. And I've seen people actually go for a Shiho skill 3 into a Layla taking turns, which was actually kind of nice.
Yeah.
And that's also then Tomoe lead based. Let's see what we have for Gyu. Are you still rocking the crit rate Gyu?
Yeah, I am. I haven't been picking it that much now though, since there's not that much Oliver.
Yeah, that's like, true. 45 win rate. That is definitely overspammed, I guess.
Yeah.
I still think she's not bad though.
Yeah, like, she's solid, but she's like probably in the 70 tier as well.
Yeah.
72.5.
Yeah, I would say 72.5, or would you say higher or lower?
It's tough, but I mean, for me, I would say it's 72.5, even though the win rate is very bad.
Yeah, no, like in this case, I'm also gonna go against the win rate because I think she has still decent value. Like especially if she despair stuns every other hit, she's so annoying. She's definitely really good still.
And I think like I'm basing it on my own games when I play her, and not like when I'm fighting her. Because if you're fighting her, then she's probably like 85 in a lot of people's mind.
Yeah, that's definitely. If she despair stuns and armor breaks every first hit and that kind of stuff, she's super annoying. But I think she's fine on the 75. Yeah. Seimei, in my opinion, still most boring unit in game, but she good. Well, actually,
I actually love Seimei.
She's not that crazy. 50 on the win rate right now. That's actually one of the lower ones I've seen on there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, because I feel like it was pretty bad early in the season, but now it feels kind of good again, for me at least.
Yeah, well, this one is just after the latest balance patch, so that's still somewhat later into the season, but I'll give her an 80. Or do you?
Because I feel like for me right now, she feels like my third best LD in a way.
Really?
Like I like Sarah to the most, then Eleanor, and then Seimei probably.
What kind of drafts would you use her into at the moment, mainly?
I use her into some of the win-twin drafts, and then I like it also when they steal Sarah too, because it's one turn immunity and the dots just heal you to full, basically.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's quite good into some of them. And then some Gianna drafts that are low damage, you can kind of sustain through the bombs as well, depending on what they go.
Yeah, okay, fair. I'm convinced. 85. Maybe I'll pick her to less, or not enough.
I think 85 is good. Makes sense.
Yeah. Let's see about Duman. Still high on the win rate, 52, but I think she's not having that many drafts where she fits. She wants to fight the Gapsos and that kind of stuff, but you don't see those too much anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I like her still, because there's some, like, a lot of games go into some weird... I don't know what to call it, but they're trying to fight... They're going like all the most toxic units, and they're just trying to fight them with toxic units, and then she can kind of like fit into those when it's low damage, just cut in.
When they go for like Angelas and that kind of stuff, well, she's not the craziest into shields, but still kind of nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say 80. Would you agree?
I would probably say even 85. I think that's fine. Like, I actually like her better this season compared to the Jongnam Oliver one for sure. Like, there she was kind of like 70. But right now, I think she's actually good.
Fair. And people were pointing out her ban rate being close to 50. That's actually insane. Yeah, 85. I would still trade my Seimei for Duman. But that's just my my liking for the one and the other one, not that much.
I think I'll still prefer Seimei having both. I'm guessing Glory probably thinks the same. But I mean, both of them are quite nice still.
Yeah, I think it's also depending on play style and stuff. Let's see, Onmyouji. Not that bad. It's also one of those units that people really hate because it was that much better before, and now it's a lot worse. But still, I think it's very draftable. Onmyouji, 49 win rate, 1.5 pick rate.
For me, it's like a 60 almost. It's weird. I guess 65 then, maybe. If you like
65 is fair. Wait, if someone's saying spam Duman in your arena offense, you swap it for Seimei. Why the fuck would I use a Duman in arena offense? What the hell is even that? No one would do that. Should I spam Seimei in arena offense? Oh wait, I actually do, but that's autoing. I could put the Pheromones in there. But yeah, only is fine on the, what was it, 65. Kinky, I've seen some people here and there play Kinky, but I'm not really sure if it's a thing or it's just a meme.
I don't think it's a thing, probably.
No, that's that 41 win rate is not a thing.
I think having like the old, like not the first version of Kinky, but the like one before they randomly made it so he can't like Defense Breaker. I don't know what they did. Was it the Defense Breaker Revenge that took away or the healing?
No, they made it
right?
one hit on the Revenge. So one hit on the Revenge can never hit on its own armor break, and therefore it doesn't heal shit. That's kind of the issue.
I think the Kinky before that nerf would have actually been like nice to have in RTA right now.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Nana. 49 win rate, 4.5 pick rate. Do you see it a lot as Sonya counters, or because I feel like Nana revives with 20% HP and you kill it again? Like, what's the issue?
It's like, I think it's probably a 70, I would say, because it's. I would say that it's very situational, but it's actually kind of nice some games. Like there's some games where she's one of the few units that you can pick.
Yeah, I would say that she has probably higher pick rate and higher ban rate than most of the units in here, so I feel like the 72.5 probably is decent.
Yeah, that's okay, I guess.
Yeah, let's see. Coco. I like myself Coco for Leo counter, but that's actually about it. Is that actually picked?
I haven't really seen any Cocos.
That's probably just me then. Those are definitely not that many matches. Kiki. I don't think Kiki's picked that much either. Not really her meta. You have her, right?
Yeah, I pulled her. She was one of my... She was actually doing pretty well for me, but that was early season quite a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, she's still one of my most picked.
Yeah, definitely not that many picks in there. And Miles, definitely a unit that picks up a lot of attention right now as well. Oh, he's all the way top left even. Win rate not crazy though, 48.42, but pick rate is 12. I still think Miles is really annoying if you have a good one.
Yeah.
80 or more or less?
Yeah, I think 80 fits for him.
Yeah, I think so as well. Like, I think in lower ranks, he definitely does do a lot better. Oh, actually, wow, I'm surprised. I expected, Punisher and Conqueror, that's where he does better, but the moment you go into Guardian ranks, he does do a little bit worse. Then we have the one and only Oliver, which is, once again, no, wait, he's not the most picked unit anymore, but he's close, though. He's definitely close. Also, still positive win rate with a 50.5.
Yeah, that's weird, because I don't know. For me, I feel like I like fighting Olivers, and I don't like having him on my team, but I don't know.
Yeah. For me, the big issue with Oliver, the moment you miss a skill 3, you go skill 2, and then your skill 3 is like a turn and a half away, pretty much. It's just one of those things like that.
I mean, I think you still have to like rate him pretty high.
Yeah, I would definitely say 95.
It should be pretty rough for him in theory, though, I feel like with the Fire Megumi and stuff being good. But I guess, 95.
Yeah, I
works,
think
guess.
95 is fine. Like in the end, like
But I don't know. I think Vanessa and him have to be on like the same tier though, in a way, for sure.
mm, I actually feel like Vanessa goes up one here, to be honest. But then I also feel like that Laura goes one up.
Because I think Vanessa, Oliver, and Wind or Water Twin all should be like the same.
I think
In a
Water
way.
Twin is above both of them, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, in the end, it's slightly bit more in the pick rate, but I think it's more partnerable with more things. That's the main thing, because Oliver Zeratul is kind of like weird, whereas Twin Zeratul is very good. But the same thing of like, I think Twins just fit with legit everything, which is insane.
Yeah. I don't know, I just think like those three are like the Trinity right now for me.
Well, yeah, the thing is with I think the Vanessa is a little bit more specific on the single target cleave style. And therefore it's really good, also higher in win rate.
I think even like right now with just going Bruiser, she's quite nice.
It's hard to say. It's a hard one. I definitely do say 92.5 on Vanessa, actually. Do you agree?
Yeah, for sure.
Do we also want up Laura? It has not really her meta that much.
No, I don't think so. I think Vanessa's better.
Yeah. I still think we have to go Oliver on the 95 because of the pick rate.
Yeah, sure.
Because in the end, it's legit double the pick rate, which is a very substantial amount.
Yeah.
But yeah, Oliver is a hard take. I think it's also like which one of the three is best for you is kind of whatever you're drafting dependent. The thing is, which Oliver and Twin Angels have, is if one picks one, the other one picks the other in a lot of cases. Plus, the pairing of them is still really strong.
I would say that it's decent. But you only like pair those together if the enemy's also like hard contesting you.
True. Well, actually, I've seen a fair amount of drafts where someone doesn't go, or they first pick something else like a Fever Gel, and people just go towards the both of them right away. So Twins plus Oliver. But I think he's in a fine spot for now. I'm trying to find Jackson, Ammo Dance's favorite unit in game. If we can find it. It's probably not even on the list, or it's very far down. Why does it always take so long to find these units? Oh, here, bottom right. Ammo Dance, this one has higher win rate than your Bay. So I think you should be picking this one more in G3.
Hey, I mean, honestly, I like Jackson more than the Bay, but I guess he's not in a good spot either.
Yeah, no, it's both in a terrible spot, so we're not even going to place it. Let's see, do people actually use the Fire Robo at the moment? I have not seen it. You could argue for a Gianna counter, but nope, definitely not used. How about Wind Robo? Is used, but not to a great extent. I think Wind Robo's trying to be like a late pick kind of unit, but...
Yeah, for sure.
Kind of doing it bad. I would say 65. Or 70.
Yeah, 65 or 70. I like it more than the ones in 65, probably.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I was
good.
kind of looking at the Chung Pong, and I do like Chung Pong more than a Robo, but in the end, it's kind of similar-ish level, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I think Robo you can probably pick... I mean, I guess it depends a little bit on how you're trying to set up your Chung Pong. But I feel like Wind Robo is the free-to-play Gianna, and Gianna is like #1, right? So
yeah, that's true. Let's keep it at a 70, yeah. I see Dark Robo. It's also one of those units that doesn't have that much shine at the moment. Should be still, yeah, somewhere at the top. Oh, actually, 51 win rate, 2.5 pick rate is not that bad. But I feel like it's kind of just a 1 or 2 up from it. It's not crazy, because mostly it's paired with like a lot of LDs to actually shine. What would you say?
Yeah, I think maybe 72.5, probably.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
It's hard to say on that one.
Yeah, I'm fine with 72.5, because most of the time he's not really worth this set. Then we go into, wait, which of those are used? Ella's definitely used. Is Maya used nowadays?
Not really, no.
Little Totemist over there. 3% pick rate with a 52.5 win rate. That's not bad at all for an Ella.
Yeah, Ella's pretty good, I think.
Yeah, I would say that she definitely deserves some value. But is that 75 value or 80 value?
I think 80.
Yeah, I think 80 as well, right? 80 makes sense on her.
Yeah, for sure.
I would like to see if Riley is picked up at the moment. I don't think so, but might be. Nope. No Rileys in current meta. And then we go into Carlos. Do you see a lot of Carlos when you play a lot of Sonya, or is that not that much a thing?
I see it sometimes, but it's not doing that well.
53 win rate is not that bad, to be honest, but I feel like
yeah,
the
that's pretty
same
good.
thing. Like I feel like some Carloses you just one shots regardless with the Sonya in the first place.
Yeah. I mean, I still think he has some value, and I think with some Valeska players, they're also doing Carlos Valeska.
True.
I
I
thought
think
that
that
could
might
be
be a
fun.
thing. I think 72.5 is probably fair on it.
Yeah, I think so. Normally, I would say 70 or even
Mm.
lower, but I think right now 72.5.
Yeah, 72. Like the win rate is pushing me towards the 2.5 higher. That's kind of the thing. If it was like a 50-50, I would have done 70 for sure, but for some reason it's taking some victories. Let's see about the Dom. It's not used that much. Okay. Maximilian. I'm pretty curious to see if that thing is actually something right now. I would still say that I'd rather draft Nefties than Maximilian in most cases. But it's also depending what's coming in front and what's coming after. Let's see.
I mean, I don't know. For me, I see why people would rather draft Neftis. But I feel like if you're going to draft Neftis, you might as well just slap Maxi, because I feel like there's no point going like halfway.
Yeah, that's kind of true.
In a way.
Well, for me, I really like the silence of Nefties. Like, that is the part where it's a speed lead that also has some form of CC.
Yeah.
Well, he has the pushback, and then potential double turn, which is also nice. Would you say same value or one below?
Thing is, I think Neftis is not as setup dependent, because obviously if you have no AoE strip for Maxi, you only absorb one guy, and it feels kind of bad.
Yeah, I would say so. Harder
But
to
I do
draft.
think if you do have the full AoE setup, I would still much rather have Maxi than Neftis. So I would say the same, probably.
Yeah, same, but different, but therefore still the same.
But you can put him in 72.5, because I would put Neftis down as well. So if you would rather have Maxi...
Yeah, we have to pair them both, but then the question is, where do we pair them? To be honest, I haven't drafted Nefties in like ages, so I think 72.5 is totally fine for me on both of them. Like, I have both of them ruined, but they just never really fit. That's the big issue.
I think it fits since like Morris in 72.5, and usually I would almost argue more over them, even though Morris is doing so terribly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're both kind of hard to fit in, or you have to go for the full draft around them, which is kind of not that optimal. Minato is 1.5 pick rate, 44 on the win rate. I personally think he's a 65. I feel like that he's worse than a Chow or a Camilla.
Yeah, I think that's okay.
Ren? I haven't seen that unit in RTA for a fair bit, actually. Other people have neither. Shun did get a buff. Not the craziest of buffs. Not a great buff. Ritsu definitely had a better buff. I would say, I argue that I kind of like Ritsu at the moment. 52.5 win rate, 2% pick rate is definitely not bad.
Yeah, Ritsu is pretty cool. I think it's a pretty good meta for him as well, so we'll see how it does.
Yeah, I'll try to draft him when it fits, but definitely against like Fire Monkeys or things like a Nobara, it completely cuts the turn of the Nobara or like Junos and that kind of stuff. It's actually really nice.
Yeah, exactly. Like, because I think that's one of the things that people do if you go like an early win twin. Yeah, they go like Juno and Nobara stuff. If you can have a Ritsu there, it's actually really insane into them.
Yeah. The only big issue he has is that he does a threat state where he doesn't really want to be hit. Just kind of awkward-ish in some situations.
Yeah, I guess, but I would say in a way that like the threat state is still beneficial though, because otherwise they would just hit him anyways, right?
Yeah.
If they wanted to target him.
Well, the big issue I have with him is that because he takes the turns with the Shadow Trap, he gets himself out of the state of protection, but still has a threat state. And then it's like, yeah, I like the threat state when I'm protected, but I don't like the threat state if I'm not protected. That is kind of the issue. But I kind of do value him for pretty decent rune sets, yeah. But I think 85 is fine, or would you say higher or lower?
I think I would almost argue lower, even though I like him, but I think 85 is quite okay,
Yeah, I
actually.
would say, yeah, compared to how often these are used, I agree with you. 80 is,
I think 80, yeah.
85 is a little bit too enthusiastic about the unit, yeah. Amber, ooh, not sure if that is used. Don't think so. Nope. Well, then we go to the one and only Sonya. Also has a very high win rate, I think. 51 on a 22% pick rate. That's definitely very strong. Well, that goes straight to the top, but how far to the top? If we look purely by win rates, it's pretty much equal to a Josephine.
Yeah, I think 95, yeah.
Yeah, good. I think 95 is definitely... And 50 ban? Yeah, that's... Wait, is that the highest ban in game at the moment? Top 3? With the only one being like an insane win rate and pick rate? I would almost argue higher, but I would say your Sonya is higher. Most average Sonyas are not. Like, I want to give credit to that one. Like, the big issue is you can make Sonya traps, and I've seen a lot of people like random TL Lang Sonya traps, random Sierra Sonya traps, like everything is Sonya traps, so...
Yeah.
With that, I would say 95. Also, technically, my Gianna Sonya trap because of HP and minus stats.
I mean, I think she's the second best Swift unit after Shio, so I think it kind of makes sense to have her there.
Yeah, I would say if you have to say, like, okay, what do I have to room for Swift? First Shiho, then Sonya. That's very true.
Okay, Water Twins is not going to 100, though.
No, I actually don't think so neither. I think we don't have 100, to be honest. If I have to think about it, no, I don't think we have 100. Veronica used to be 100, used to be 105 even. Now 49 win rate and 5% pick rate? Close to 5% pick rate. 75-ish or 72.5?
I think 75, same as Volantis.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, that's actually a fair comparison for one-to-one trade. It's still one of those units. If everything lands, it's just so freaking good. But then they can proc out right now and stuff, which makes it a lot worse. I want to see if people use Destiny. For me, in my opinion, Destiny is one of the coolest looking units in game, but she's just not that great. She would only be like a Leo counter for me. Let's see, Audrey and Giselle. I think Audrey is still one of those units that's pretty underrated.
Yeah.
Okay, underrated, but not really used. That thing can hit really hard. Like, I've seen like 34Ks with like just a little bit of setup. Okay, Giselle's also barely used at the moment. Am I missing any of the interesting ones? I guess all of the pure vanilla cookies we go into the next. Okay, is used. I'm not too big a fan of Adriana in RTA. What do you think about that?
I don't know. I've actually been fighting a player like a couple of times recently, and I'm like, I think I'm like 50-50 versus him right now. And he's going Adriana early every time, and it's kind of... I mean, I don't think it's great, but it's just a weird matchup.
Isn't that the dude that goes Vanessa, Adriana, and then he pairs like Sonya, Ethna, and those Sonya
and
Ethna?
Exactly.
Yeah, Sonya and Ethna are slightly slower than the Adriana.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the weird thing for me where I don't like her. If she was 115 base, I would say absolutely go to unit. But 111 base, you know kind of what you're fighting against. 111 is not that crazy.
Because I think that's maybe a little bit why I think she's a bit better right now, is because since Swift units don't feel as strong right now, she's not getting contested as easily without getting punished, like the other guy getting punished.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, it's just like a Shio will guaranteed outspeed that by a 4 better base, so...
Yeah.
I don't know. Win rate is not that crazy. It's just Cabrera. Cabrera is kind of known to be crazy fast, so that helps out a lot.
70 still. But I would normally put her even like probably just... Yeah, maybe 70, 72.5.
Yeah, I think 70 is fine for her.
Because I did run up a like violent Adriana that I was supposed to use, but then I never used it either because I thought it would be kind of good.
Yeah, I also have to put a whole bunch of units like, oh, this is a great idea. It fits sometimes, and then that sometimes never really happens.
Yeah.
Lucia, I actually really liked Lucia in previous metas, but it's currently not as crazy, not too many AoE CC kind of things, and she was really great in that. But I still give her like 72.5. She also really uses runes that pretty much no one else uses except maybe your Verd.
Yeah.
Let's see about Angela. I guess Angela does better. Would be surprised if it does worse. Does
We
actually.
should check Valeria as well after Angela, since it's like a similar unit. If it's actually being used.
I actually don't have her in the list, but I will check her. And if she's above 1% pick rate, I will add her into the list. I can still do that.
All right.
This one first, I would say slightly better, but nothing too crazy. I think in most cases, I like Racuni more than I like her. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think so for sure. I like Raccoon a lot more. But she's still alright.
Yeah,
75 is good, I think.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Yeah, the speed buff of this thing is just too good. Only value she has into teams that are non-sustaining on the enemy side. You can just die to shields. That's definitely a hard factor for her, but Racuni mostly does do a little bit better. You were saying, Valerian, that's the light Hyannis kind of thingy, right?
Yeah, light ride.
That's probably way far down. Right over there. It's decent on the pick rate, I would say, but not 1%. And it's 50-50 win, so it's not that bad, but definitely not crazy. More pick rate than I thought it would have, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Moving on next. This one definitely not used. Zibala. I haven't really seen myself too much Zibala as of late. Doesn't do too bad, 49 and a 3%. But I think it's, for me, it's just a 70. I don't really think it fits that much in meta, or what would you say?
Yeah, I would say that's okay.
I could maybe argue one higher, but...
There's like one thing I like about her, and that's the freeze reset on Josephine's. And it's still like... But it's probably more of like a violent, weird build than going Swift right now.
Yeah, I'm also saying the same thing. Apparently Skit is doing that right now with Violent Zibala. Okay. It is relatively easy to make a Vio Zibala, but then again, Vio boosting another Vio unit mostly makes it a little bit awkward.
Yeah.
But I could see it working-ish, but not too sure about that. Zima, I know you were a pretty big Zima fan right after the buff. Are you still similar about that, or did you kind of fall off for you?
Not right now, but I think if it was like trying to force Ganiel Noah and stuff, I would probably still be playing Zima quite a bit.
Yeah.
But she's like... Yeah, she's probably 65 right now.
Yeah, win rate doesn't really show too much value. Also, it kind of counters things, but it's also not really counter things, so 65 I think is fine. It's also one of those units you don't really want to put... If you want to make her work, she needs crazy runes, at least pretty fast runes.
Yeah, it's like a pro, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
I think she has some value though, because she can be on a random Swift set and work some games.
True.
But I would still say she's about there for the current meta.
Ooh, Kovaci also took a pretty big hit. Actually, Kovaci, the moment the healing went down, took a pretty big hit, but I would still say Kovaci is really nice.
Yeah, for sure.
80? Or 85?
I think 80, yeah.
Yeah, I think 80 is fine. Like, it definitely took a little bit of a hit. Is it better than Joe Gunn? No, wait, it's very different. Someone just mentioned Joe Gunn, so I thought for a second comparable. No, not comparable. Or would you say
it's close though. Maybe 85. It's because I like Sayman Dooman more than Han and Kovaci, in a way.
Yeah.
Which I hate to say because at least Kovaci and Han are aggressive.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, for me, you need a lot of pairing with this thing, and I feel like the base speed is too slow for it to make it really work. If the base speed was a bit higher on Kovaci, it would be really good. And before, the healing had a lot of value. Now that's also kind of gone-ish. So, yeah, I would say 80 is fine.
We can go with 80.
Let's see about Zenizek. Was actually super strong in one meta, but definitely the one that took the hardest hit of the skill 1 nerf because it has a passive. So you're spamming more skill 1s than the others. I still think it's pretty good though, but is it that good? 50 win rate, 3.5 pick rate, 75-ish?
I think for right now, I would still give it 80 in a way. I think same as Peter. It's fair.
Yeah, true. Yeah, if I would say, if I was playing against a Gianna, I would personally rather draft a Zinizek than a Pater, because Zinizek always works and Pater only when it has the passive in the correct state.
Thing is, I think between Senesek and Pater, like Pater is better when the enemy are using like Janna as their primary stripper. If the enemy has a stripper and then Janna, you would much rather have Senesek. That's like the difference.
The only issue Senesek has is that he needs a pretty insane value set on speed to outspeed in front of your other units, which sometimes he doesn't really feel like worth it.
I do think he's one of the few units. I mean, even though you don't ideally want to go broken on him, you can go Van broken since he can't be pushed back.
Yeah, definitely. And then you can add like this random fatal rune or energy rune that you have like some quad speed in. That's definitely a good one for those, yeah. I was looking for Burgilds. 41 win rate. Wow. Did not expect that. That's way lower than expected for me. I still feel like she should get the speed base awakened removed and then just get way higher activation rate and she becomes a Vio bruiser unit. Because right now she's pretty much lost all identities. But she's also below 1% pick rate.
Yeah.
Let's see about the dark one. I think it would almost be used more. What? That's actually used 10 times more. That's an insane amount. Wow. 50% win rate. It's by value, this is the same as a Kovachi, but would we say it's as strong? I don't know.
No, I think 75.
Yeah, I would say so as well. Like, I don't feel that she's that much value. Like, sure, for a whole comp, it's maybe something, but no.
Yeah, 100 for me, if I get it.
Yeah? Would you like it that much? Well, I think you can go with the Seer and then everything.
I put her in my raid up. So good.
Wait, that's a random one for a raid up?
Yeah, I mean, it's fun because I have like Dark Seni, Han, and Seratu and stuff, right? So I have, like,
true. It's the combo you make. That definitely does make sense, yeah. Federica, 50 win rate, or 49 win rate, 5 pick rate. Doesn't have too many drafts where she really fits, except Leo counters, in my opinion.
Yeah, she's still pretty solid. I would say 72.5 or 70, one of those.
Yeah, I think 72.5. I think she's better than the ones in here. It's just her issue often that she kind of lacks a little bit of damage to kill. So she's definitely needed on Blade and Nem will, rather than double Nem will. Kiara. I actually haven't seen too many Kiara since the Zibalas kind of went away. Okay, still decent pick rate and win rate. 52 win rate, 1.5 pick rate. But I would kind of say same, or 70 even.
Yeah, I would say 72.5 still.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Moving on next. Light Ezio. The one unit that still wants to keep the resistance lead for whatever reason. Okay, no one picks that. Makes sense. Moving on to some proper Bayeks. I think Ashur always had a high win rate. The moment that Ashur got buffed, always been on decent to good win rate. 51.5, 26 on the pick. That is definitely pretty high for the pick rate as well.
Yeah, I think it's one of the better.
Yeah, top 10-ish pick rate. Maybe a little bit outside of that, but definitely a unit that goes to the top. 92.5?
Yeah, 92.5 is what I would go for him.
Yeah, I think we're pretty same ideas with that. Very strong unit. Does need crazy runes to shine, though. I also am curious, like, does his win rate really go down in lower ranks? Because I think it's one of those units that does shine on crazy runes. No, actually, that does a fair win rate in all ranks. Let's check Sahat. I've seen a few more people pick up Sahat. I'm actually not doing that crazy. 49 on the win rate, 7 on the pick rate. But still, I would say he's a pretty solid unit in the right draft. 80?
Yeah. I think 80 is a bit high. I think 75 for him probably is okay.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, he does have a fair bit amount more pick rate than most in the 75, though.
Yeah.
But then again, he's also not as much picked as like an Athna, for example.
Yeah, I don't think the units, like the units that are in 80 look like they should be one tier above him.
Yeah, I agree. Let's go for the 75. Moving next, we got the Piranha. It's a unit that I tried to pick up, but for me, never really felt that great. Wait, I thought I just saw him for a second. But then I didn't. He's right over there. Ooh, wow. 55 win rate. 1.5 pick rate. 1.5
Yeah,
pick
he's
rate is not
he
crazy.
kind of like replaced Rika in a lot of spots.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Will we say 75 for that or even 80?
I think 80 for me. I really like him in 80. He's
Yeah,
like
he
one
does
of
have high
the
ban rate as well. And this pick rate is, or this win rate is absolutely insane. So I gotta give him credit for that. So I'll say 80. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you go crit rate on him or you just go speed HP
Yeah,
or speed
crit
defense
rate.
HP?
I go speed crit rate defense, and then
Okay.
since you get like A to B from being hit, you just leech back with your S2.
Yeah.
Quite
Yeah,
nice.
makes sense.
And then like being low HP doesn't hurt as much since you still have your revive for like turn 1 nukes, so it's like really hard for them to double kill you turn 1 to
Yeah.
not get CC'd.
Makes sense. I've seen people try Chakra as like a wind Miles, but that never worked out for anyone, I think.
Yeah. It's rough.
I'm trying to find this one, but pretty sure yeah, no one uses that. Dark one is used though, for sure. Okay, 53. That's definitely, it's lower win rate, but more pick rate. Would we say stronger or same as Piranha?
I think same.
Yeah, I think so as well, right?
They're both
Because-
like slightly better in different situations, but they're both very good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the main thing is like the slight healing that he has and the double life make him really nice, but then again, the reflect is also nice.
Yeah.
That's all for those. Then we go into Irene. I think Irene has a pretty low win rate, but insane pick rate.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen her pick rate go down
Yeah.
lately though. Yeah, it has for sure.
Yeah, it's also probably less ragdolls, less capsos, and she was the main counter into those. So her meta is slightly shifted where she has less value, but I still think an 85.
Yeah, I think 85 or 80. One of those is
Yeah.
kind of fine. It's hard though.
Yeah, she's a bit low on the win rate though. Like that's kind of my edge where I'm like, not too sure.
Yeah.
But then again, I think she's still really annoying. Well, the big issue is if she misses, she's so bad. That's just her big issue.
Yeah. I mean, it's. I think maybe 80.
Yeah, I would actually agree on
It's
80
hard, though.
because she's slightly off-fitting the meta at the moment, yeah.
Because I still feel like if we didn't have Irene, you would still definitely like notice that she's not existing. You know.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely a thing.
She's
Like,
still good.
I think she's just removing things from draft, and therefore she becomes slightly removed from draft as well. I think that's kind of the rotation. Bloodja, not her meta. Layla, I saw you pick up a little bit of Layla as well. After buff, was it just meme and video, or did you actually think like she good?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, right now I'm not playing that much that is fitting with her, but I do think she's actually quite nice. Like, I was planning to now for like if I make it to Legend tournament. Okay, maybe I shouldn't spoil too much, but she can like cut in with weird units and be pretty toxic. Because like getting slow is so huge.
True. Yeah, I actually did see people what I mentioned, like Shiho into a stun, into her taking a turn, and then you follow up on the whole Shiho, which is definitely an interesting one.
Exactly, and even like a Fire Megumi cutting in or something.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
then she
would
moves
actually
in.
give her 80. I think I have to give her a little bit more value in my box as well. Would
Yeah,
you
I
say
think 80 is
higher or
fair.
lower, or agree?
I think 80. Like probably a 7.5, but I don't think we need another.
Yeah, we already have a
In-between.
fair amount of in-betweeners.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, is Glorious here? Glorious favorite unit? Wait, Glorious, did you put Jessica in your SP up? Otherwise, you're a fraud and a fake, okay? I'm so sure this unit is not used at all. Just for the sake of glory, I want to find it. Right over there. Yeah, that's positive win rate. But yeah, definitely not used.
That's only like charge, sniping, glory, and
yeah,
scribble.
exactly, and then just spamming it in there. Jungnam still has decent win rate, 51. It's not bad, but just 2% pick rate.
Yeah,
Not really sure what comps he's still being used in. I haven't seen him that much myself.
I think it's fairly decent. I would put it in 75 probably.
Yeah, okay. I think if you still have him good rune, and he's relative easy to rune because of the high base speed, that helps out a lot.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I think that's actually like an underrated thing, even for like G3 tier lists. Like being
Yeah.
easy to rune is still huge.
Yeah, like you can fit in, especially because current meta is the meta where you need most amount of units ever. This is my counter into Lucifer's. Triple Nem on Björnchul. That's like, I don't know, wait. Do I still have him around here? Probably somewhere. I think I removed him from this list, but then he should be somewhere in here. It's one of those super random builds that he just does so well. Yeah, this is Triple Nemesis on 200 crit damage. And then he just one smacks a whole Lucifer team. It's kind of funny, and that's this, but
I'm
never used.
I'm just seeing like lots of LDs waiting to be claimed in your box there.
Which ones?
With your like double Leos and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's. Oh, you mean that? Yeah. No, I am a siege main ish, kind of sometimes. I think that's Adriana's. I probably have the most of. Yeah, that's like 4 or 5 or so. But yeah, then you get a bunch of Darien, so that's also not really worth it.
Hey, 2A Darien for siege though.
Nice. No. Actually, I didn't make a single Darien, to be honest. I'm so slacking on the 2As. That is definitely a thing.
Darien better with 2A Darien.
I would just want new 2As, like add in Drunken Master 2As. That would be so insane. But those would be maybe too OP. I'm trying to find your favorite / ex-favorite unit, Uldong. I have a % pick rate. Do you want to place it in?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's hard to place him in.
Yeah, I think so as well.
And I don't think it's great for him right now.
Well, Gapso is having a rough time. 45 win rate. That's arguably one of the lowest win rates we have seen so far. To be honest, I totally don't mind that. I don't like Gapso. 65 or 70?
I really think he's bad. I like 65 for him.
Yeah, I would say so as well. Like, if you have kind of runes that fit on him, might as well throw it on a Racuni. It's gonna do a lot better for you. Then we finally arrive at the Water Twin Angels. Half of the matches, more than half of the matches, he's there. It's just absolutely insane. Do we say this or do we say that? That is going to be the big question.
I think, like, for me, it's 95. I think that makes sense.
I think 95 as well. Like, he's similar to Oliver. It's just depending on the play style. Some people are claiming 100. I don't know. I'm curious about other ranks. What is most picked in other ranks? Other ranks are more towards Oliver leaning, yeah. Well, in the end, it's a G3 tier list, so it doesn't really matter too much, but just curious.
For me, the closest one to 100 is still Gian, I would say.
Yeah, for me, actually, I could argue this, but I don't feel like it, to be honest. that is the only... Yeah. I would definitely not... I would say 97.5, but definitely not 100. Definitely not 100. 100% not. But... yeah, I think it feels good in every match. I would argue 97.5, in my opinion. Well, no, I actually 95. And my main reason for 95 is I really freaking dislike her skill 2 being a, 60 check? And this thing also being a 30 check. These things not activated happens way too many times and you lose matches because of that. And she drops down a tier for me for that.
Yeah.
I think that's her biggest... Like, I've seen so many times, like, oh, if I armor break setup right now, I insta-kill. Never armor breaks. Never mind, shit unit. So, 95 for the RNG checks she has. I
mean, thing is, like, that's the thing with speed leads, right? Because you could argue that Vanessa, Oliver, and Water Twins should all be 100. Because they're speed leads, you know, in a way.
Yeah. But I want to put your Trinity at the top. How about that one?
Yeah, I mean, like, imagine if Trinity was the only speed lead in the game, then she would be like 100, you know?
100%.
That's the thing.
Actually, the Fire Twins took a pretty big hit. They were like 54 win rate when people haven't figured them out yet. And now they're 49-49, 14 pick. Still not bad. But
yeah, I think they're probably 80, I would say.
I would even say 85. I think they have strong pairs for the resets. Like, I really like the resets for... Like, if you pair her with a Gianna or these with Gianna or something, or with the Shiho, having that constant uptime of your skills is just so strong.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fine. It's probably the weakest twin, though.
Yeah, definitely agree. Well, you have the dark one.
Like... Yeah, I mean, that's what I was going to say. I thought you were agreeing with me now with the dark one. No.
Wait, do you think the dark one is good?
I think it's all right.
I've tried it a little bit, but the armor break rate is so bad.
Yeah,
Well, we first have the wind one, 30 pick rate. That is one of the higher win rates for... That is actually the highest win rate from things that are 30% pick rate.
Yeah, they're 97.5.
Yeah, I do agree on that one.
Like, I think, like, going into this, I wanted to have Janna and Windwin at 100, probably.
Wait,
maybe even Janna, Shio, and Windwin at 100. Actually, maybe that's how it should be. Like, just have all 4 of those at 100.
And then we remove the in-between tier?
Yeah, basically.
I agree. Fuck it, let's do it. Everyone at 100. Yeah, these units are just very oppressive. Well, I would say the Wind Gianna is better than the Gian in a lot of cases. Can you imagine?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think it is better in a lot of cases. It's just that, I mean, both of them are really insane.
Yep. Yeah, I will agree on that one, yeah. Will we then almost put these two at 90? No. In between the tier and then move 95s up. No, we're not gonna go there. Light Twins. Not as strong anymore as it used to be, but definitely still pretty strong. It's just not that much picked. 53.5 win, 3.5 pick.
They're nice still.
Yeah, they're definitely nice. Like, I'm definitely scrolling far up, but the question is how far up. I would say 85 though.
85 or 87.5 even. I don't know, like, for me it feels like if Jogan is that high up.
Yeah, true. Like, I would rather use these than Jogan. Well, I think Jogan in Bruiser setups is better, probably.
Yeah. I think 87.5 probably though.
Yeah, 87.5. Well, but then Jogan kind of feels too high, actually. Because
yeah,
I feel like
exactly.
they're the
same.
It's
hard though, because Jogan's pick rate is so high though. That's the thing, right?
Yeah. But then again, everyone has Jogan, not everyone has this thing. That's kind of the pick rate issue, I guess.
Yeah.
But then again, Gianna's 30 pick rate. But, will we place that 90?
No, I think probably 87.5 then, or... Because in a way, I feel like it's close to 85 than 90. But then, like, because Jogan doesn't feel like a 90 unit to me, but he's performing really insane.
Yeah.
So it's like hard to also put him down.
Yeah. I would say, no, actually, Jogan on this makes sense, because if something is, let's say a Megami is off-will, you start off with scrolling off the Megami, which is insane value. And there's a fair bit of Megamis on Revenge and stuff. Whereas this one, you have to push down, so you actually have to land something to counter a Heigang, whereas Jogan just straight up counters the Heigang to a certain extent.
Yeah, I mean, I would say they're pretty similar in countering Heigang.
Yeah. Honestly. Well, the thing that... Sometimes with the Twin Angels, I played on some accounts that have the Twin Angels, you feel like you have to boost up your Sierra, and you don't have the attack buff because you feel like, ooh, they're close on A to B, I don't push back enough.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what you kind of have to do every time into a game.
Yeah, and that's the thing with the Jogan, you have attack buff guaranteed, so that actually does have some strong value there. But there's both things to say for both, but I would say by pick rate, it's kind of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just... I would... Are you against putting it on 90?
Kinda.
Yeah, but, actually... Well, let's talk about this argument. I think that Twin Angels are only paired with Sierra, whereas Jogan you can pair with other things. Would you agree?
Yeah, kind of, but I also think Jogan's best pairing is also Sierra.
Yeah, it's the best pairing for sure. But I think it's more options. Oliver Jogan sucks.
Because the thing is, like, Jogan might have a bit more turn 1 impact, but the Light Twin still has more damage and stuff.
True, yeah, you have to multi-hit. Actually, really good multi-hit. Damn, this is a hard one, because actually they should be kind of on same level, but I feel like downing Jogan feels kind of weird, but upping this thing feels kind of weird as well.
Yeah. I think either way is okay.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna put Jogan 1 down, just to match it out on same level.
Yeah.
Still feels weird, but whatever. Let's move on. Dark Twins. Wait, you want to see Dark Twins, how bad they are?
No, I mean, Dark Twins are not even picked. So we don't have to put them at 97.5. The only in between.
I'm surprised about 0.65 pick rate. I expected 0.06 pick rate, so that's That's 10% or like 10 times as high as I expected. Fire Geralt, is that thing even used at the moment? Well, if Rika's not used, I can't see that thing being used. Yep, not at all. Lars, the Light Geralt. I do know that some of the Brazilian players were spamming it. Not sure if it's good though, but... Right over there. Nope. Moving on next, Light Siri. Light Siri did get a buff. I tried it out myself, but legit, it's on the point. Might as well just draft the Misty. It's better.
Yep. I feel like, I mean, it's hard to compare it to Misty, I think. I think it's more Narsha and Light Siri kind of competing in a way. Does that make sense?
To a certain extent, yeah. Well, the big issue is Narsha, even on turn 1, already has good value from her S2, and this thing, you have to do 3 S1s before an S2 is even, like, thinkable of. Which is just kind of weird. I don't think Kit is being used. No, and if you do, please stop. Would you say Trick's being used? Also not right. Nah.
Not really.
Not really. I think with Light and Dark, we should definitely check. Light took a big of a hit for meta shifting and Nobara, but still good. Win rate was 53, pick rate 1.5. 85 still?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think 85 makes sense on him.
But he's also like a secondary speedy that you pick.
Yeah, I would say if he fits on the 5th pick, he's probably really good fit, and otherwise don't pick him at all. I wouldn't first pick him anymore, that's for sure. I'm looking for the Dark Hacker. That one shouldn't be that far down. Or is he though? No way that thing is that far down. But I can't find him. Right over there. He's actually further down. What? Okay, I guess there's not that much of AoE debuffs, Nefties, Maximilians, because he's mainly a Nefties counter, so for that reason, not really in there. Moving on next at all of those. Dark Yuji. Actually, I had to place that one in to be finding him. I didn't have him placed in earlier, but I think he's actually pretty legit. Are you using him a lot right now, or is it just more for memes?
Right now, I'm not using him at all. But it's also because I don't... Like, my crit damage runes are spread thin.
Yeah. But his win rate, he is legit the highest win rate, I think. Yeah, he's the highest win rate.
He was doing well for me when I played him as well, but I do think it's also like quite a bit of work. Like if you look at the people who use Jack and his like pick rate, because I think it was 160 match or something, right?
Yeah, 600.
It's probably still like close to their win rate or like negative delta almost.
Yeah, probably.
In a way. So I actually think it's quite nice. Probably 80 or so.
Yeah, I wouldn't give more than 80. Even though the win rate is the highest of the board, it doesn't give him much more value than this. I would say he's pretty much a must on Vanessa, though.
Yeah, there's some water twin stuff you can also do. But like one thing that I actually really liked with him was if you want a damage dealer into like an Eleanor, he just always crits and is consistent versus her, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Which felt really good.
Yeah, he misses a little bit of the self-protection. He has that Endure, but that's not really enough in my opinion. But he's definitely pretty nice right now, yeah.
I think he's like in a good spot now where he's like he doesn't need anything else.
Yeah. Nobara. It was also interesting when Nobara was released, a lot of people were like, this is the most OP thing ever, nerf right away. I was like, people kind of have to figure it out like a Douglas. And I would say it's kind of a Douglas value. You have to keep it in mind in draft, and otherwise you're gonna get slapped by it.
I think normally I would put her like in 70, but I think right now she might be a 75 even just because of Win Twin. Like it's actually pretty good into some of those. Yeah,
the main thing that you're aiming for with this unit is you want something that AoE 2 turns. Because I've seen some people try to use her against an Okeanos. Okeanos 1 turn stun, she doesn't do enough. Yeah, and thing is, like lots of the AoE units wouldn't mind not having to do much. Because the Nobra is not really doing much on their side either. It's kind of like the Bulwark situation. Exactly. Well, let's see the most annoying unit in game right now. Is super high on the pick rate. Win rate 48. 32 point almost, or well, English. 33 win rate, or 33 pick rate, 48 on the win rate. That's an insane amount of picks. Not a crazy amount of wins. Actually, lowest win rate throughout all of the often picked. But still straight up, I would say above Sierra, even though that the win rate and pick rate are lower than that. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's maybe a little bit weird. But I think he's overspammed, and that's the reason why his win rate is tanking a bit.
For sure. I mean, it's hard though because he was so meta warping in a way.
Yeah.
So that's almost like 100, you know. But I do think he's like 87.5 or 90 right now.
Yeah, I would say 87.5. Like in the end, his win rate is kind of low. But the thing is, every other turn, so every proc he has S2, it's so annoying. I would almost give this because he's first pickable as well. Well, Sierra's also first pickable, but actually Sierra's a lot more first picked. Pure by statistics, Sierra is better. I think that this is fine then. Because I think it has its decent counters as well with like Shiho and Tian Lang and a bunch of stuff. But he's definitely very annoying. Well, I could give him 90 for the value what you also just said. He is denying certain units for being drafted.
Yeah.
Like Wunsa is gone, Maximilian drafts are gone, this is gone, that is gone, just because he's pickable. And that is really nasty. Yeah, 90 is fine on that. Dark one, definitely not as crazy, but still picked a bit. Yeah, okay, 52 on the win rate, 2.5 pick. It's not that bad, but I would say 80-ish. Agree?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, I don't feel like some people are like, oh, he's super crazy, he counters this and that. He still has to land everything, and that is pretty much a big issue. What do you think about the Gojo, the Water Gojo? 46
I don't like it very much. I think it's okay sometimes, but I think
he's overrated as well, yeah.
Yeah, it's very fake in my opinion. But I guess 72.5 is kind of fine. I feel like I was performing better early on. Like right now, he's even worse.
I think people kind of figured him out. I only like him into Oliver because Oliver gets really awkward turns into him where Oliver can't cycle and still has to reset him from time to time. But besides that, I don't really see his value.
Yeah.
Yeah, 72.5 is actually by best he gets from me. Like, sure, I've seen some...
I would almost even say 70. Like, same as Chow, maybe? Is good?
Well, I would say he's a little bit more usable, maybe. Pick rate is definitely higher.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it's also definitely by chance. Like, if he's violent, does he stun enough on the S1? If he's not violent, then it's kind of weird with, like, the interaction where on the first skill 2, you don't really want to do it. I don't know.
Because I'm, like, trying to think, like, when would I even ban Water Gojo unless it was, like their only stripper, is what I'm trying to think.
Yeah, that's kind of true. Well, the only thing is, like, if my Oliver takes weird turns and therefore the Oliver has to reset this thing but doesn't want to, the only place I kind of see him as an Oliver counter, but besides that, pretty much nothing.
Because, like, I don't think he's that worthless, but I don't think the 70 units are bad either.
Yeah, true.
It doesn't feel too bad to put him there. And I do think a lot of the 72.5s are a bit better.
Yeah, I would say so. Let's see. I think that the wind one is used from time to time. Definitely not as much, but something is worth checking. Was not worth checking. Light and dark, definitely. Okay, dark one definitely not. Yeah, okay, it kind of makes sense. Light one definitely still is there, right? 50.5 win rate, 12 pick rate. How the hell do that many people have light Gojo?
Yeah, that's a good
How the
question.
hell do you get 12 pick rate on that? That is insane. I would definitely say 85 minimum.
I'll put him 87.5 probably.
Yeah, the thing is, you might say it's like, oh, you really need other LDs such as Laura to make it shine. I would say just straight up this thing with an Okeanos and you're golden.
Oki and Light Gojo is super good.
I would even give him 90 for that, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm cool with 90. I think it's better than Chandra.
Yeah, definitely better than Chandra, and I would say on Laura level. Like, for me, picking the light SP up was actually between Laura and Gojo. And I would say kind of similar level. Moving on next. None of these are used. I definitely don't have to check any of those. Tanjiro's, none of these are used. Dark Nezuko is used.
Yeah, she is.
Also, not as much anymore as it was in the beginning, right? Well, still 51.5 win rate, 3.5 pick. I think
She's very solid.
Fair 80, 75?
Yeah, I think 80.
Yeah, 80 makes sense. Next, Zenitsu's. Is the water one? I've seen some people draft the water one, but is that just meme? And yeah, that's hella meme.
I haven't seen any waters actually.
I've seen 1 or 2 people draft it, and I was like, okay, it's the answer to being stunned or something, but
they probably picked the wrong one.
Yeah, that could be a thing. Wait, that is. Did we have the? Oh, I guess they split that up. So yeah, Zenitsu wins 49.20, 2.5 pick. I think it's not bad, but also kind of people figured it out.
Yeah, and it also got nerfed, right? So
yep, 75.
I don't know. I think it's a 72.5.
Sorry,
I think it's worse than the one in 75. 72.5 now.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Let's go for that. Also, people figured it out with killing it with the fire twins and stuff. That definitely hurt it hard. Let's see about the dark one. What would you rate the dark one without looking at win rates?
Probably 70, maybe.
Yeah, it's definitely missing the protection, right?
Yeah.
Like if it had a little bit of protection, it would have definitely been nice. It's really good on damage. That's definitely true. But I think it's a fair 70, yeah. 1% pick rate, 49.5. We're closing in on the final units. I would say that from these, only the light one of Inosuke is used. Shouldn't be that far down. Oh, not even used. Well, it's also not really fitting the meta, so it does actually make sense. Is Lamila used? No, Lamila can probably be used. Okay, not really though. Would you like to place Lamila in?
I think she's pretty solid.
Yeah, I think she's maybe hard to fit like good runes on and stuff, but I definitely think she kind of on like Jogun-ish level.
Yeah, either that or 72.5. I think
yeah,
72.5.
Let's one downer for a pick, right? And then we have, of course, the Valeska, which was one of the highest win rate units until people kind of figured it out and actually dropped hard in win rate. She was not nerfed, right?
No, she wasn't.
That's interesting. She was legit at like 55 win rate, but I guess people kind of figured out not to start killing the other things but kill her. But I still think pretty good. She's definitely one of those nasty units that really have to focus on like doing the right thing of killing, otherwise you get killed. But is that 80 or 85?
I think 85 is so, because I think she's closer. I don't know. Yeah, I think 85 is good.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say 85 as well. I played with a few of this, she's 100 res, and people try to start hitting it with like Athnas and stuff, and it doesn't work. Really nice. Would you say Gideon is used? Not really sure about that.
Not really, no.
No, I think it was kind of like people trying it out at the start, and then people figured out not that crazy. Which
I pick him sometimes still, but it's pretty rare.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's the whole list for as is, which is definitely a top focused heavy list. Any units you would like to say being switched if we look over this?
I think it's pretty solid, I would say. It's maybe if there should be another, like some type of in between more at the top, like in that 95 one, but it looks pretty solid, I would say.
Yeah, there could be a few that maybe are stronger than some on the same level. Like Josephine over here is maybe Josephine on the same tier as Zeratul. It's kind of weird, right?
Yeah, because like normally, I mean, Josephine, I think it's actually kind of valid at this point. I feel like Josephine is actually really insane right now.
Yeah, she's kind of.
It's just that normally I would like rate Miying and Zeratul about the same. It's hard though, because like Miying's numbers right now is like the best on the whole list, right? So
yeah, it's hard to put those in between, like those down, and it's the main thing. These three are the best units in game, arguably. He is the counter to all three.
Yeah, and I feel like Miying, even though he's more of a counter pick, I still see a lot of people doing decently when they like almost
just
first
slap
pick
it
him
in, just make it work.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's a fair list. Like, in the end, you can always debate, like, one up, one down on a lot of these units, but I think it's a very fair list in general, yeah.
Ongi is 65, I think. Yeah. 65.
Yeah, only 65. Some people are saying Yun Hong 95. Absolutely not in current meta. Shiho way too good for that. Put Arda at 95? Why is Greg so low? What the hell are you using Greg for? It shouldn't even be on the list, arguably. It's below 1% pick rate. Shouldn't even be on the list. No, I think we have a fair list at this, and we also are rocking in on 3-hour mark. Is Ritsu really that high? Ritsu is actually really good. If he does miss his skills, he's kind of bad, but Ritsu in the right draft, denying turns of like Junos that are full on debuffs or Nobaras or any of those kind of things, definitely really good. Sierra
I think maybe if this... No, I don't know. Maybe Doom on 1 down, possibly.
Doom on 1 down?
Like same as Silver and Velasca. Because I feel like she's pretty comparable to the Puppeteers and like...
Yeah, and Ritsu and stuff.
And Ritsu, yeah.
Well, the only difference is why I keep her up there is she has the most insane ban rate. I think she's legit one of the highest ban rates out there. Yeah, number 4 in ban rate. That gives her a bit more value over the others, in my opinion. Wait, where did we put Irene? We put Irene in there. Yeah, that's true. Irene and Duman are kind of same level, to be honest. I wouldn't really say one is better than the other.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fine with either or. It's still close.
Yeah, I would say this is fine. Because they kind of feel fitting together. Yeah, I think we leave it at this. Otherwise, we can probably go back and forth. Exactly. I don't know how long. Obabo, also for the video, I definitely want to thank you for your time because this has been a very long time. I hope that the audio at the first part is also including you. Otherwise, the first half hour is without you. But I'll mention that in the video. So I definitely want to thank you for being here. Also for the side of YouTube, definitely want to thank you for being here. And for me, that's going to be a long time watching this whole thing and putting all the timestamps together because that's also something that I do every time. Obabo, anything you want to shout out as final?
No, but thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks a lot for being here, man.
Cook some dinner at this point.
Yeah, the only reason I never ask anyone for this thus far is because it's like, I also asked you pretty hesitant. It's like, this is going to be like a 3-hour thing. It's always pretty long to ask like 3 hours of someone's time. Glorious is saying, let us rate the tier list. Okay, guys, just rate it in the chat. 1 to 10 on the...
Okay, you do like a poll maybe? A poll.
Sorry?
In the chat.
A poll. Yeah, let's do a poll.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait. Poll. Rate tier list 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. I cannot do more than 6, so it's Obabo and me together, so it has to be at least a 6. You cannot go lower than that. Sorry, guys. Immediately, everyone going for the 6. Few 9s, few 8s. Well, in the end, it's always having a fair amount of bias, right? I think everyone else would be saying like, oh, I have this unit or that unit. You always have a fair amount of bias. But I think that this, if we have to take fairness, if Obabo and me agree on a lot of things, I think the bias is already pretty far out of the window. Plus chat was involved, plus statistics. I think we got a pretty fair list.
Yeah. Like, I think the only weird thing about this list is that it's going to be... Like, since this season feels so different for everyone.
Yeah, like, yeah, it's really the perspective. Like, if you really draft the Oliver twins, they have a different feeling than you draft a lot of Vanessa, Sonia, as you do, for example. That's definitely a thing as well.
Yeah.
Wait, Rexis is saying Gianna at 100 and you said you would never do that again. No, I would never put Lima at 100 again, but that's not going to happen anyways. By all means, if it helps, I put Gianna at 120 and she's nerfed tomorrow. I don't give a shit if they nerf Gianna. I'm on that point. Like, I don't like playing against her, and I don't like playing with her. Because against me, she lands everything. For me, she lands nothing. So, pretty like, legit nerf the shit out of Gianna. I don't care. I'm on that point right now. But yeah, for most of the voids, we have like a 9, an 8, or a 10 in that order. So I think that's fair. Obabo, I'm gonna leave you to the dinner that you so have been prolonging to.
Thanks so much.
Thanks a lot for being here. Guys in chat, I'm also going to be ending the stream. Thanks a lot as well. And if you want to see all of this later, it's gonna be in the video.
All right, goodbye, guys.
See ya. Thanks for watching. If you would like to see more guides, join the Discord and check out the content tab for the guide video archive, which contains all of the guides that you might need. Hope to see you there.